Billionaire's Secret Attraction. An Alpha Billionaire Romance Audiobook. By Michelle Love. Taken by a Billionaire. Madison.
There is a sea of men in dark tailored suits. A sea of men that I now have to walk through. We, my dear friend Kim and I, arrive at the new art gallery promptly at 1 o'clock. She is simply punctual, like that. With our high heels clicking and our perfume wafting, she and I walk up the steps in front of the building. The men are all ages, all handsome, and all very rich. They nod in appreciation as we walk by, smiling, winking, nodding their heads. Kim smiles a wide, mischievous smile. She's relishing it. Loving it. And she's used to it, the admiring gazes. She's come to expect them always. And why wouldn't they look? She's tall, leggy, blonde, and you can just feel the confidence radiating off of her. Today she's wearing a sequined body-hugging dress. One that shows off all her curves. She is a goddess. I look down at my dress and tug at the hem one more time. I too had dressed up. For fun. To make myself feel good. But unlike Kim, I am not here for the attention. I'm here because she asked me to come to this event, the opening of a new gallery owned by one of her clients. I wasn't in the market for a new painting or anything like that. But I thought the event had the potential to be an excellent networking opportunity. The art world and the music world were closely intertwined after all. Or so I thought. One look around and I can tell this isn't my usual scene. In any case, I decide to make the most of it. Plus, Kim is visiting from Chicago. She'd moved out there several years ago for work. She would be going home in a few days, and I wanted to spend as much time with her as possible. We go inside and immediately grab 2 glasses of champagne. My stomach growls. I'd only had coffee on the way out the door. I had practically run so that I could meet Kim here on time. I turn to her. Pastis for lunch? She doesn't hear me. She's too busy making flirty eyes at some tall, distinguished-looking gentleman with salt and pepper hair. She raises her glass as he inclines his head toward her. I roll my eyes. Then I grab her arm and start walking away, dragging her with me. I know where this will lead. She'll find someone she wants to make a night of it with, and I'll be stuck talking to his dull friend. Not today. Kim may very well be on the prowl, but I am decidedly not. Men always seem to bring trouble into my life. So I just try to keep my head down and focus on my work. We waltz through the various rooms, eyeing paintings and sculptures. Well, I'm eyeing the paintings and the sculptures. Kim is eyeing the men. And there are plenty to choose from. What's going on over there? Kim turns to me and asks. There's a crowd forming in the room next to us. We walk over to see what the commotion is all about. One piece in particular seems to be drawing a lot of attention. People are starting to bid on it and fight over it. An impromptu art auction springs up right there in the middle of the room. Kim and I stand back to take in the action. She's whispering to me, saying something or other. But I'm sucked into the painting. It's stunning. A tempestuous swirl of bold reds and calming yellows. Splashes of orange. It was as if the sun had burst and splattered itself onto the canvas. The piece is causing quite a stir. And rightfully so. If I had the money, I'd be making a play for it myself. Don't look now, Kim whispers to me, leaning in closer. But there is a very cute stranger off to your left. I start to roll my eyes. But then she adds, and he seems to be quite taken with you. This piques my interest. I glance to my left and immediately see who she's talking about. I don't know how I missed him, even if I wasn't exactly looking. He's the very epitome of tall, dark, and handsome. And sure enough, he is looking right at me. His silent stare makes the air thin and hard to breathe. My pulse quickens, and I can feel the color spring into my cheeks. His hair is curly, dark, and hits just at the nape of his neck. His eyes are the shade of blue that looks as if it will freeze you and melt you all at the same time. His jawline is strong, absolute perfection. It's so hard to take my eyes off his beautiful face, but I quickly turn away. I feel a little out of breath, like I had just gotten off some thrill ride at an amusement park. I try, with great effort, to direct my attention back to the painting. Kim raises an eyebrow at me. "You're not going to go over there?" I shake my head, unable to speak for the moment. I start to tell myself that I'm imagining the whole thing. That he's looking at someone behind me instead. There are plenty of other women there, after all. And it seems as though he has more than one new fan, because I'm not the only one staring. I take another glance in his direction. This time, the corners of his mouth turn up slightly, just barely showing the hint of a dimple. He is definitely looking at me. And ignoring his fan club for the moment. My belly does a flip-flop. The next thing I know, Kim starts to drag me off in the opposite direction. "There's Maxim," she says. Maxim is her client and owner of the gallery. He smiles when he sees her and waves us over. "Come on," she says. "I'll introduce you to him." As we walk off, I decide to steal one more glance over my shoulder. I can't help it. I search the room looking for my handsome stranger. But he's gone.
Caleb.
I'd lost her. I whip my head around frantically, trying to spot her in the crowd, but she's nowhere around. A group of chatty older men had walked between us, obstructing my view. And then she just disappeared. I frown. "What are you looking for?" I turn toward Rob, one of my oldest friends and now business partner. "Did you see that woman?" I ask. He laughs. "There are lots of women here." He follows a curvy redhead with his eyes, as if to illustrate his point. I shake my head. Never mind. I can't let it go, though. She was exquisite. The most breathtaking woman I've ever seen. I couldn't get my eyes off of her. I hoped no one had noticed. I walk on into the next room with Rob. I keep an eye out and chide myself for not saying anything to my mystery woman earlier. I try to concentrate on what I'm here to do, but it's proving difficult. I was there at the art gallery with my partners. We had just moved our firm into new offices and thought some new artwork would be a good way to snazz up the place. Plus, we figured this was a good way to work on getting some new accounts. Not that we needed any new accounts. We were doing extremely well. The rest of the financial world had taken to calling us the Rat Pack. RAT was an acronym for Retired at 30. And the way we were going, we could likely retire before that. Brad, my other partner and good friend, walks up to me. "You want to see that show tomorrow? The one everyone's raving about?" I can't. I've got dinner with Bruce. Bruce was our mentor. And we each had a standing one-on-one dinner date with him, as well as a group lunch once every month. We're standing off in the corner of the room, talking to some man that Rob knows. I glance over and see out of the corner of my eye the tall blonde that my mystery woman was with earlier. No sign of my mystery woman, though. I nudge Brad. "Hey," I say, pointing to the tall blonde. "Do you know her?" "No. But she's pretty attractive." "Why? Who is she?" I sigh. Never mind. I could just go up and introduce myself, and then politely ask about her friend. But that would just get people talking. As it were, I already had a few women tailing me through the gallery, magically appearing wherever I was standing. At the far end of the gallery, Brad begins making our final selections and arranging payment and delivery. We were all happy with the pieces he'd chosen, so we let him handle the details. I glance down at my watch. It's 3 o'clock, and this thing is winding down. The car is waiting out front, Brad says to me when he finishes with the gallery owner. "I'm just going to say bye. I'll meet you guys outside." I am beyond ready to go, and so I make my way out front first. I stand at the top of the steps and take the time to light a cigarette while waiting for the rest of my group. I had quit last month for the 5th time. But it wasn't taking. That's when I see her. My mystery woman. She's getting into the back of sleek black Lincoln, her tall friend right behind her. I have the overwhelming urge to call out to her, but I realize I don't know her name. Still, my eyes are transfixed on her. The car door slams and the wheels start to move. In the exact moment the Lincoln rolls by, my mystery woman looks up. It's just a quick glance, but our eyes meet through the car window. And then she's gone. Again. I'd lost her for the 2nd time.
Caleb.
I arrive at the restaurant at 7 o'clock on the dot. I sit down at the table and order a glass of single malt while I wait for Bruce. 20 minutes and another scotch later, I glance at my watch. I make an annoyed sound and tap my fingers on the table. I'm just about to go ahead and order without him. A minute or so after I order my appetizer, Bruce comes walking up to the table and sits. "You're late," I say, not even making an effort to hide my annoyance. He gives a dismissive wave of his hand. "Only 20 minutes, he replies. "No big deal. Relax." "So, how was the opening?" I smile, remembering my mystery woman, and then fix my face when he gives me a curious look. "The usual," I reply. "Pretty boring, actually. Got some nice pieces, though. Should liven the place up a little." "Sounds good." "Okay. What have you got for me?" I reach into my briefcase and pull out my leather-bound notebook and a stack of spreadsheets. We spend the next 30 minutes going over my specific goals for the quarter. After these strategy sessions, Bruce would check in with me weekly. Usually, on Saturday afternoons. I'd update him on the progress of specific action items. Bruce can be a jerk at times, but he knows what he's doing. And he knows how to keep me on track with whatever it is I am trying to achieve. He takes the time to teach. The guys and I are lucky to have him. With the projections done, we relax and take the time to enjoy our meal. I put my notebook away into my briefcase as our entrees arrive at the table. The server sets a sirloin steak, medium rare, with a side of steamed vegetables in front of me. Immediately, I begin to salivate. "Be right back. I'm going to take a piss," Bruce says as he gets up from the table. I shrug and take another bite of my steak. I'm happily engrossed in my meal when something else grabs my attention. It's the scent that makes me look up from my plate. Perfume. Sweet, spicy, and faintly herbal. It isn't the scent itself, but the fact that the scent is familiar to me. I try to rack my brain to remember where I know it from. And then, like magic, she enters into my view. She walks into the restaurant with the same cougar friend she was with the previous day at the art gallery. The hostess walks them past my table and sits them down in the opposite corner near the kitchen. It takes a little while before I can catch her eye. She turns, she must have felt my eyes on her, and she glances at me briefly. I can see the recognition register in her face. Then in a flash, she turns back to her friend. I feel that familiar movement in my slacks again, and I shift uncomfortably in my seat. I want to go over there, but Bruce would soon be on his way back from the restroom. I can never be sure how he'll act in situations like this. In general, I make it a point to keep anyone I'm interested in far away from him. If he knows I have my eye on this particular woman, he'll be likely to approach her and say something that will embarrass me, no doubt. Or worse, he'll make a play for her himself. I can't have that. So I force my attention back to my steak and try to pretend she isn't there. I still take a glance here and there, but I try not to be obvious about it. Now, I have a dilemma. I don't want my mystery woman to slip away again, but I don't want to put her on Bruce's radar either. The server comes over to remove our plates, interrupting my train of thought. Bruce asks him for the check. "Right away, sir," he says. I have to think fast. "I'd like to place a separate order to go if that's okay," I say to the server just before he turns away. Sure. What would you like, sir? A steak salad, please. Ben raises his eyebrow at me. For my lunch tomorrow, I explain. Don't feel like cooking. He shrugs. Expensive lunch. The server returns a little while later with my salad, packaged neatly in a brown paper bag. I hand him my black card. Ben seems distracted by something on his phone, so I seize my opportunity. I lean toward the server and speak to him in a low voice. Please add whatever the ladies at the far table order to my tab. I motion toward their table, and then I slip a business card from my wallet and hand it to him. And please give this to the young woman in the black dress. The server smiles and gives me a slight nod. I'll take care of it, sir. Ben looks up from his phone. You ready? I nod. We get up and start walking toward the front door. I take one last, longing look at my mystery woman. She's engrossed in conversation with her friend. I try to will her to look up, but she doesn't. The door to the restaurant closes behind me. All that's left for me to do is to hope that she'll actually call.
Madison.
I don't even notice him when I walk in. But I feel his eyes on me. Hot and prickly, like Superman with his heat vision. Kim excuses herself just after our appetizers arrive. I start to dig into my salad, not wanting to wait for her to get back. It's a heavenly mix of fresh ripe peaches, vine beans, cucumber, red onion, goat milk feta, and a harissa vinaigrette. Cool, crisp, and delicious. Then all of a sudden, heat. A warming sensation, traveling up my arm, up my neck, and into my face. I look over my shoulder, feeling suddenly very exposed. And there he is. The handsome stranger. Our eyes meet. And just like that, the rest of the room fades away. He stops chewing. Then he puts his knife and fork down next to his plate, and leans all the way back in his chair. And then he just lets his baby blue eyes wash over me. For the longest minute, I just stare at his face. My gaze travels from his piercing eyes down to his lips. In that very moment, he bites it, pulling his bottom lip between his teeth. A slow smile spreads across his face, and his dimples are back in full force. Lickable dimples. My breath catches. It's a look that says only one thing. We both know I can make you faint with pleasure. Kim returns to the table, and I quickly shift my attention back to my salad. For whatever reason, I don't want her to know that my handsome stranger is here in the restaurant with us. She'll probably just end up embarrassing me. Or trying to take him for herself. The whole time we eat, I force myself to keep my eyes on her. But my mind keeps wandering to him. I'll get it, Kim says when the server arrives with a check. She starts to pull out her credit card. No need, ma'am, says the server, placing a gentle hand on her arm. The bill has already been paid. By whom? The gentleman at the far table. We both turn to look in the direction the server is pointing, but there's no one there. That's funny, he says. He was there a minute or two ago. The server then leans in toward me and whispers, he asked me to give you this, madam. He proceeds to place a card in my hand. I blush and look down at it. It's an excellent quality. Clean design, heavy cardstock, and embossed lettering. Caleb L. Jones, Financial Services, it reads. I try to keep a neutral facial expression. I put the card down when Kim gives me a questioning look. I shrug. Guess we'll never know, I say. Free meal? We'll chalk that one up to a win. It's almost 10 when I make it back to my apartment. It had been a long day, and all I want now is a nice, hot shower before bed. I pause, looking at my phone on the kitchen counter. It isn't too late yet. Maybe my handsome stranger is still awake. Over the next 5 minutes, I wrestle with the decision to call him or not. Finally, I grab my purse and begin looking for his card. It isn't at the top of my bag where it should have been, and after a good minute of rummaging, I still haven't found it. I turn my purse over and frantically dump the contents of my bag out onto my bed. No card. I realized then that I'd left my handsome stranger's card at the restaurant. I think briefly about calling the restaurant, and after a minute of deliberation, I do just that. Nothing. They must have thrown it away when the table was being cleared, the person on the other line had said. I hang up and sink into my bed, suddenly very moody. I stay up for another hour wondering how I let my handsome stranger slip right through my fingers yet again.
Caleb.
I slam the phone down hard. Probably much harder than I need to. This particular client, the one I'm on the phone with, is a total nightmare. I don't want to lose the account though, so I have no choice but to make nice. The others had since long left the building. I was in the office by myself. I look down at my watch and sigh. It was past time to pack it in. I'm still agitated though, and I need to blow off some steam. Rather than reach for a cigarette or the bottle of scotch I keep in my bottom desk drawer, I change into my sweats. The gym is a short walk from my new office. I walk through the front door and give a nod to the gym owner, who is in the corner sweeping. He nods right back and smiles at me. The usual? I nod and smile. The usual, I reply. I'm a regular at this place, and my late-night sessions with the punching bag are starting to become the thing of legends. Sometimes the owner Gus would leave me there and let me lock up. I wrap up my wrists tightly, and then I punch the bag for a good hour. I don't bother to hit the showers before I leave, because my penthouse is close by. The cool night air hits my skin as I exit the gym. I pull the hood of my sweatshirt up over my head. I'm feeling so much better, but then my phone starts to buzz with another text message. It's from the pain-in-the-ass client, and he's threatening to ruin my newfound good mood. I'm not paying attention to where I'm going. I'm so lost in the phone. I don't see until it's too late, and I run smack into someone on the street. Papers and things go flying all over the sidewalk. Quickly, I bend down to help pick them up. It isn't until our hands touch that I realize what's happening. I look up, and all of a sudden, it seems as though the entire world starts moving in slow motion. My mystery woman, and just when I was beginning to think I'd never see her again. She smiles. Well, if it isn't my guardian angel. Her voice is low and husky and music to my ears. I chuckle at this and shake my head. No guardian. Certainly no angel. She smiles and nods, stuffing the last of her things into her purse. I reach out my hand to help her stand up. We've got to stop running into each other like this, I say. When she doesn't answer, I add, I was hoping I'd hear from you. Yeah, she starts. I misplaced your business card. I think I left it at the restaurant. I raise my eyebrow at her. Her excuse is beyond typical, and I expected a little more from her. Can't she come up with something better? But then I decide to give her the benefit of the doubt, and see if maybe I do have a shot after all. Where are you heading now? I was actually just getting ready to hail a cab. Let me get one for you, I say, and stick my hand out to flag one down for her. I look down at my sweats and grimace. I was hardly presentable, hardly in any condition to even be thinking about taking this woman out. But this is my mystery woman, and I'm not about to let her get away again. I put my hand down and turn to her. Have you had dinner yet? She nods and looks away. Yes. Dessert? She looks at me and shakes her head. Skipping dessert tonight? I can't tell if she's being coy or if she's just not that into me. Okay, how about a drink then? There's a place right up the block. It's only a short walk from here. She hesitates before answering, looking around and seeming at a loss for words. My heart sinks. I'm convinced she's going to say no. But then she agrees. Okay, she says finally. I can't help the silly smile that comes and splits my face in two. I clap my hands together. Great. I grab her things, and we take the short walk up the block to the little bar. What's your name? I ask her on the way there. Madison. She smiles and holds her hand out toward me, and I shake it. Madison, I say, her name rolling off my lips like sweet honey. I'm Cal. We get to the bar, a few minutes later. The place is packed, much to my chagrin. I search the floor, and then find 2 empty seats in the corner. I guide Madison over to that corner and sit her down. What would you like? What are you having? What I always have. Scotch. Single malt. Neat. Then I'll have a scotch. Single malt. Neat. I smile. I'm already starting to like this girl. I'll be right back, I say. Don't go anywhere. I go over to the bar and order the 2 scotches. The best you have, I instruct the bartender. He comes back with 2 glasses and shows me a bottle of the Macallan 18-year. I nod. That would do. I bring the 2 drinks back to the table and set hers in front of her. She doesn't drink it right away. She sits and stirs it with her finger, eyes on me the whole time. I take a sip of mine and try not to wrinkle my brow at her. Did she not drink? Why wouldn't you say so? So what do you do? I ask, attempting to start a conversation. I work in the recording industry. Doing what? I have a record label. She still hasn't touched her drink. She seems to be staring at something fascinating on her left hand. Is that what you've always wanted to do? She smiles and then, to my relief, finally picks up her glass and takes a sip. No. I wanted to be a nurse. I started nursing school and everything. So what happened with that? Things change, you know. I nod at this, not able to take my eyes off her. My turn, she says. Where are you from? Is it that obvious that I'm not from around here? Painfully. I'm from the Midwest, originally Illinois. Went to school out there, but my parent moved out here to Jersey a while ago. And you? You're a native New Yorker, I'm guessing. She takes another sip. You guessed correctly. What did you study in school? Study? I laugh. Honestly, most of it was a blur. I don't remember much studying going on. I do remember being proud of having learned how to sew. Finally, I get a laugh out of her, and the mood instantly lightens. I reach out to touch her fingers, and feel a jolt of electricity when her skin touches mine. Some guy that had been watching us from the far corner comes over at that moment. He says hello to Madison, completely ignoring the fact that I'm sitting there. He's drunk. Messy drunk. Slurring his speech drunk. She tries to wave him away, but he stays put. I can feel the trouble about to start. I would get Madison out of here and continue this another time, but he's blocking the direction of the entrance. The only way to go is through him. I take a deep breath and ready myself. Then I place my hand firmly on his arm. Leave her alone, I say, expecting him to just walk away. But he doesn't do that. Instead, he reaches out to punch me right in the face.
Madison.
It all happened so quickly. All of a sudden, everyone is fighting and throwing themselves all over the place. I try to keep out of the way and attempt to scream to Cal that we need to go, but he doesn't hear me. At least he's winning the fight. That is until the big ugly drunk guy breaks a bottle, brandishing the jagged edge as a weapon. Things just got real. Cal backs off a little, but only just a little. He glances around, and I can tell he's looking for a weapon for himself to even up the playing field. Big Ugly snarls and then smiles. He thinks he has Cal beaten, and so he turns his attention back toward me. He comes over and grabs my arm, and that's when I deck him square on the jaw. But he doesn't let go, so I grab a heavy napkin dispenser with my free hand, and I hit him over the head with it. Big Ugly slumps to the ground. Cal looks at me, clearly shocked. I step forward and tug on his arm. Come on. We need to go. I don't want to be there when Big Ugly wakes up, which could be any minute now. I drag Cal out through the front door, our bodies stumbling into one another's. His hand is on his back, and when it comes away, it's covered in red. You're bleeding, I say. We should get you to the hospital. No, he shakes his head. I'll be okay. My apartment is right around the corner. I'll be okay as soon as I get home. I look at him uncertainly. Your apartment is around the corner? He nods. You took me to a bar that was right around the corner from your place? Were you trying to get lucky? He smiles and then winces in pain. I know I'm in trouble because one glance at that smirk makes me dizzy. And if I was annoyed a second ago, I'm not anymore. No, he says. Just hoping. Okay, I say. Let me help you. I put his arm around my neck, and we both stumble along the 2 blocks to his apartment. I think for a second about whether I really should help him upstairs, but in the end I decide to be a good Samaritan. We get into the elevator, and he puts in a key, next to the big P for penthouse, and turns it. Up we go to the top floor. I chew on my lip, wondering if I'm making a mistake by coming up here with him. I tell myself that he's wounded, and that if he did try anything, I could easily best him. The elevator opens right into the middle of a sprawling living room. I let out a low whistle. Nice place. It's easily 3, maybe 4 times bigger than my own place. Littered with expensive-looking things, leather, wood, crystal. The rugs look like they come from overseas. In fact, the whole place looks like something you'd see in a travel magazine. You live here by yourself? He doesn't hear me because he's rummaging through his things looking for some bandages. He stumbles back over to where I am sitting, by the living room coffee table. Let me see it, I say. He nods and then pulls his now bloodied t-shirt over his head. I try not to look at his pecs or his abs. Just the wound on his back. You're not saying anything back there. How does it look? Big Ugly had gotten him real good. You're going to need stitches. He lets out a hiss. Well, I start. You were bragging about knowing how to sew earlier. So where's your stuff? He jerks his head to the side. Top drawer on the right. I go over to the drawer, look through it, and then pull out a small sewing kit. Any vodka? You're drinking at a time like this? For you, silly. He motions to the back of the room. Bar's over there. I pull out a bottle of vodka, and first pour a little on my hands to sanitize them. Then I give him the bottle. Here. You might want to take a swig. He grabs the bottle from me, and takes a long swallow. I take it back from him. This is going to hurt, I say as I dab some of the alcohol onto his cut. He winces, but he doesn't cry out. I proceed to sew him up, taking care to keep the stitches small. You sure you know what you're doing back there? I scoff at this. You're the one that didn't want to go to the hospital. Yeah, well, if you leave a scar, I'm suing you. I don't care that you're not a professional. You really want to make jokes with me? I'm the one holding the needle here. Right. I should stay on your good side. That's a mean right cross you've got. I finish up, snip the thread, and lean back to admire my work. What's the prognosis, Doc? You'll live, I say. He nods. Good. I stand and walk around to face him. His face is a little pale, but he's still gorgeous as hell. He looks up at me and smiles. My skin tingles where his eyes linger. His smile doesn't lessen the intensity of his gaze. If anything, the smile holds an even darker promise. I need to leave. Well, Jones, I start. You certainly do know how to show a lady a good time. He chuckles at this. I'm not being funny, I add. I genuinely haven't had that much fun on a first date in forever. It's been ages since I've been in a good fight. His smile widens and my knees threaten to buckle. Plus, I did get to see you with your shirt off, so the night wasn't a total bust. I know I've probably blown it, he says. But I really want to see you again. It's a lusty whisper. You will, I say, and then turn toward the door. I should get home. You get some rest. Have a good night, Cal. He gets up to walk me over to the door. But we don't quite get there because he falls over and passes out.
Madison.
I really want to go home, but I can't leave him here like this. I shake my head and guide him back to the couch. And then I sit and try to relax and make myself at home. While I'm here, I may as well pour myself another drink. I tell myself that I'll just watch him for a little while to make sure he doesn't die, and then I'm going to let myself out. A minute later, he wakes. His hair all ruffled. I can tell it takes him a minute to register everything that's happened. How are you feeling? He rubs his head. I'm okay, he says. I'm not sure if he is trying to convince me, or if he's trying to convince himself. Good, I say. And now that you're feeling better, I'm gonna go ahead and leave. You should eat something, by the way. I get up to go, and he gets up too. It's his hand on my arm that stops me. The way he grips my wrist. Firm. Commanding. I turn and face him. The heat in his gaze is unmistakable. No, he says. Stay. My eyes are locked on his and I cannot look away. The warmth from his hand travels slowly up my arm like a flame would creep up the fuse on a stick of dynamite. And like that dynamite, I was about to blow. Cal takes a step closer, reaches out with his other hand and rests his thumb on my lower lip. Then he leans in. I should step back. I don't know him. He could be an axe murderer, for all I know. But I'm frozen in place, my feet glued to the floor. Too late to run. His lips fall onto mine. And I kiss back. He pulls back slightly, his breath is warm on my cheek, and it lights the little hairs on my body on fire. His kiss is insistent, but his lips are soft. He grabs my other arm and pulls me even closer to him. Then he stops and looks at me, the corners of his mouth turning up into a knowing smile. I'd showed him my hand. He knows he has me now. There's something in those blue eyes that excites me and makes me feel, I don't know what, but I want to find out. I've been wanting to do that for quite some time, he says. Suddenly, though I don't know how, I find my feet. I try to walk away, but the next thing I know, his arms are tightly around me, my feet are off the floor, and I'm being carried into his bedroom. My head is racing, and I can't believe how quickly I've lost control of this situation. What is happening? I need to slow this down. Wait. I hardly get the word out, because then his lips crash into mine once more. My feet touch the floor again, but he doesn't let go. He pulls back and looks me in the eye, his intentions crystal clear. He must sense my hesitation. Do you want to go? He asks. The way he holds me firmly in place with his gaze, the way he smiles. I know I'm not going anywhere. We both do. Besides, it's been a while. My body needs this.
Caleb.
I wasn't planning on getting carried away on the first date. Honestly. But something shifted the moment she walked in. Maybe it's the pain meds, or maybe it's just her. Because the truth is, I can't think clearly when she's near. Being around her. The way she looks. The way she carries herself. That low velvet voice, and whatever perfume she's wearing. It's like gravity. Pulling me in. I wanted to be patient. Gentle. The kind of man who takes his time, who makes her feel completely at ease. But the second she stepped into my penthouse, all of that flew out the window. Stitches or not, I want to be close to her. Tonight. Right now. Before I can stop myself, my hands find hers. There's no rush, just a quiet urgency, a need to hold her, to feel the warmth of someone who somehow makes the chaos in my head settle. I search her eyes, quietly asking the question I don't say aloud. She hesitates, just for a heartbeat, and I wonder if she's still unsure. But then, something in her expression changes. There's warmth, trust, and something unspoken that feels like permission. I help her out of her shirt, slowly, gently. We're both quiet. The moment feels delicate, full of things we're not saying. She leans closer, and I wrap my arms around her, holding her against me. Her head rests on my shoulder, and for a long moment we stay like that, breathing each other in, steady and still. Then we lie back together, the quiet between us soft and safe. She looks up at me with wide, uncertain eyes, and I brush a strand of hair from her face. She closes her eyes and exhales. I don't rush anything. I just want her to feel sure, to feel safe, to know I'm here, not just in this moment, but fully, truly here. And when she opens her eyes again, I see it. She wants this, wants me, not out of impulse, but because she trusts where this is going. And that means everything. I kiss a gentle trail across her stomach and pause, simply holding the moment. Her breathing shifts slightly, and she looks down at me with a quiet smile. She moves closer, but I place a hand on her waist, not to lead, just to reassure. Just relax, I whisper. She exhales slowly and settles again, eyes closed, trusting me completely. There's something powerful in that stillness. In just being here, together. I press a soft kiss to her hand, and then another to her shoulder, more about presence than passion. Every motion, every glance is deliberate and full of care. It's not about rush or need. It's about being seen, being known. You okay? I ask softly. She nods. Yeah, just not used to this kind of quiet. Neither am I. I brush a strand of hair from her face, letting my fingers linger near her cheek. She leans into my touch, her expression peaceful. No pressure. No expectations. Just closeness, simple, real. We stay there like that for a long time, arms tangled loosely, our breathing gradually sinking. Eventually, I shift back and rest beside her, one hand resting lightly between us, close but not holding. We fall asleep like that, a calm silence wrapping around us both. When I wake in the morning, the bed is empty, but the warmth where she lay still lingers.
Desired by a Billionaire. Caleb.
I must not hear when the alarm goes off, because when I wake, it's already almost 10 o'clock. Oh well. Work can wait. I stretch out in bed, not yet opening my eyes to the blinding sun. Instinctively, I reach over. Nothing. The sheets are empty, cold, and barely even wrinkled. I immediately sit up straight. My head is pounding. My heart is beating quickly, and confusion is starting to set in. I get up slowly out of my bed and head over to the bathroom. She's not there. Nor is she in the living room or the kitchen. There's no note, no message on my phone. She's gone. Vanished into thin air. I start to try and call, but then I realize that she never gave me her number. I'm a bona fide hit and run. Damn it. I don't know how to feel about this. I close my eyes and memories from last night flood in. Her laughter, the way her eyes sparkled in the low light, the softness of her touch. I remember her leaning into me, the quiet intimacy we shared, the way she whispered my name like it meant something. It had to be real. Had to be. Why fake it with me? My phone rings, and I nearly trip over myself to answer it. It's not her, it's the office. Everyone's looking for you. I hear Robert's worried voice come over the line. Where the hell are you, man? Is everything okay? I had a late night, I say, suddenly very weary despite sleeping in late. Just cover for me. I'll be there in a little while. I drag myself into the shower and then force myself to get ready. It was going to be hard to face the day. I could feel it. It would be better if I knew where to find her. But I don't. I don't know where she lives or works. I don't know anyone who knows her. Hell, I don't even know if Madison is her real name, come to think of it. She may as well be a ghost. I'd lost her again, let her slip right through my fingers. Maybe it's just not meant to be. I turn the shower off, grab my robe, and go back to the kitchen. I make myself a nice strong cup of black coffee. By the time I shave, dress, and get the dimples in my tie just perfect, I'm feeling much better. This woman apparently does not know who I am. I am Caleb Jones, and I get what I want. And I want her. So that's it. I'm going to find her, plain and simple. And when I do, I'm going to teach her not to walk away from me. Madison. I feel a slight pang of guilt when I hang up the phone. I never, ever call out of work. I've always been responsible. Too responsible, if that's even a thing. When I was younger, people used to tell me I was too serious for a girl my age. My answer was always the same. You had to be serious when you were forced to grow up as fast as I did. I lay back down and tell myself that I'm the boss, and that it's okay for me to take some time for myself if I need to. And I do. I need a moment to breathe, and to relax, and to process just what the hell happened last night, what went on between Cal and me. I feel the heat rise in my cheeks the instant I start to think about him. I didn't know it could be this way. So good. So bad. So painful, and yet so exhilaratingly pleasurable all at the same time. My experiences with intimacy had been mediocre at best up to now. Most men didn't seem to know what they were doing, didn't seem to even want to know what they were doing. But Cal had been everything I never knew I needed. Patient, skilled, gentle when it mattered, yet confident enough to take the lead. Last night had been a whirlwind of emotion, intense, unexpected, and unforgettable. As I stretch beneath the covers, a tender ache reminds me of just how deeply he affected me. I'm still a little embarrassed by how vulnerable I allowed myself to be, but I can't deny that I feel incredible. That he made me feel incredible. Call him, Madison. What harm could it really do? I stop this line of thinking as soon as it starts. It could do lots of harm, actually, I tell myself. I shouldn't even be thinking about this. If I allow myself to get close to him, then just like that, he can find out about all my stuff. And what then? Would he still want me? I grimace at the thought. It was doubtful that he would. I'm safer where I am, which is far away from Caleb Jones. He doesn't know me, and doesn't know where to find me. I don't think I even mentioned the name of my company. I could just fade into the background and pretend that last night never even happened.
Caleb.
I know it's her the second I see her. Her back is facing me, but I recognize her shape, her long, wavy blonde mane. It had been 2 weeks since I'd seen her last. I was beginning to give up hope. But now here she is. I start to walk faster. She's headed in the opposite direction, which isn't totally a bad thing. Her dress, though professional, is form-fitting, hugging that perfect body in all the right ways. She looks so good from behind, the way her hips sway when she walks. I'd have slowed down if she wasn't walking so fast. I should be angry, but I'm not. I quicken my pace so that I can catch her. Even in her heels, she's speed walking. When I get just a pace or two behind her, she turns and is about to cross the street, and so I reach out and grab her arm. She spins, anger flashing in her green eyes, and for a second she looks like she's about to swing on me. What the? But then she trails off when she sees me and her jaw drops. Hey. What are you doing here? She asks. I laugh at this. Am I not allowed to walk on this street? She blushes. That's not what I meant. You meant that you never expected to see me again. Is that right? She doesn't answer. My office is a block or so from here, I say. I was just about to grab some lunch. Oh, she replies. She looks down at her shoes, and I take a step closer. She looks back up. My office is in the area too. Our offices are close together. Noted. Though she doesn't seem all that excited about it. Why did you take off? I was looking forward to waking up next to you. I had a really early appointment, she says quickly. I know she's lying. I'm not sure why, but I decide to let it slide for the moment. Have lunch with me. She turns and looks back down the block. She looks uneasy. Unsure. Come on, I urge. You can step out for a bit. I'm sure they won't miss you. I smile at her. I find her nervousness unbearably cute. That seems to do it. Okay, she says. I take her by her arm, and we walk a short distance to a coffee shop in the area. We sit by the window, and both decide on a salad. She picks at her food, and I frown. Don't worry, I say after a long and awkward silence. I won't press charges. She looks up, confusion written all over her face. I'm sorry, she says. I'm afraid I don't follow. I won't press charges, I repeat. Against you. For drugging me and date raping me that night. She drops her fork and looks confused for a long moment. Then I break into a broad smile, and she bursts out laughing. She laughs so loud that the sound fills the tiny coffee shop. Several people shoot disapproving looks in our direction. That was a good one, Jones. Instantly, she loosens up. So I decide to take my shot. Listen, I begin. Uh-oh. I know I blew it the other night. It wasn't at all my idea of what a first date should be. I told you, she says. I had fun. She blushes a little, and I catch her meaning. Still, I continue. Let me make it up to you. She raises her eyebrow. I'd like to take you to a proper dinner. She doesn't say anything at first, just studies my face. This is the part where you agree to have dinner with me. I help her along. When? Tonight. I'll send a car for you, around 8 o'clock. Okay. Okay. Learn to take yes for an answer, Jones. And with that, she gets up and saunters toward the door. I need to get back to work. Thanks for lunch. And then over her shoulder she calls, I'll see you tonight. Yes, tonight.
Madison.
I adjust my dress one more time in the mirror. It's tighter than I'm used to, but it's the nicest one I have. I reach for my lipstick and apply another coat. And then another small spritz of perfume for good measure. The butterflies in my stomach are on overdrive. Why am I so nervous? I shouldn't even be doing this in the first place. I recall the stern talk I had with myself the other day. He was right. I hadn't expected to see him again. And I hadn't expected my panties to moisten instantly when I did. I already agreed. So it would be rude to back out now, I tell myself. I grab my hand lotion from my purse. I notice that my palms are starting to sweat. Why? Why should I be afraid of him? The door buzzes at 8 o'clock on the dot. I take a deep breath and then head down the stairs. A sleek black Mercedes with tinted windows is parked out front. Beside it, a man is standing with his hands folded. I can only assume this is Cal's driver. I walk up to him, and he smiles and gives a slight nod of his head as I approach. Good evening, madam, he says with a deep, mature voice. Hello. He walks over to the passenger side door and opens it for me. Then he holds my hand as I step inside. When did this become my life? We drive for around 30 minutes before the car comes to a stop. This is your destination, madam, says the driver. Enjoy your dinner. He gets out to let me out of the car and motions to the front door of the building. I walk in and go up one flight of stairs. There's a large door on the landing, and I assume it's the one I need to go through. I gasp, and immediately I start to think I'm in the wrong place because it's empty. It's a restaurant, all right, but no one is there. It's then that I see Cal, standing in the far corner of the room and staring out of a large, floor-to-ceiling window. I watch him for a second, study him. I smile to myself and then walk over to him. The view of the city from the window is breathtaking. He turns to me when I reach his side and lets out a low whistle. You look beautiful, he says with a smile. He leans in and kisses me lightly on the cheek. I trust the ride was good. Yes, it was, I reply, still a little overwhelmed by this whole scene. Where is everybody? He turns to me and flashes that smile again, and my knees threaten to buckle. It's just us tonight, he says. Just us? What does that mean? He throws his head back and laughs. It means I bought the place out. My good friend here was good enough to accommodate my request. It means no interlopers. No interruptions. Just you. And me. Some good wine and a good meal. He puts his hand on the small of my back and guides me toward the middle of the room. We can sit at any table you want, he says. I choose the table closest to the window, and we sit. I take in the ambiance. Low light, candles, fresh flowers. There's some music in the background, something instrumental. You like? He asks. Yes, I smile. This is a very nice place. He hands me a menu. Would you like to choose the wine? I wave my hands. No. Please go ahead. I defer to you on such things. He smiles. I think he likes the idea of me deferring to him. He orders a bottle, and the waiter nods and shuffles off. He comes back a minute later with the wine. He pours a little in Cal's glass. Cal picks it up, swirls it, sniffs it, and then nods his head. Cal then fills my glass, keeping his eyes on me the entire time. I shift in my chair. Okay. So it is me, he says. Pardon? You tense up around me, he continues. I thought it might be other people or large groups or maybe just where we were. But now we're alone and you're still tense. So it must be me. I don't know how to answer this. Is it because of? No, I say quickly. It's not that. And I'm not tense. I just don't think we have anything in common. He's amused by this, because the corners of his mouth turn up into that sensual smile of his. Try me. I take a sip of my wine. And then another. Well, I start. You're probably from Harvard and all. He laughs at this and takes a sip of his wine. Probably some frat boy too. He nods. Yes, as a matter of fact, I did go to Harvard Business School. And yes, I did pledge Beta Theta Pi in undergrad. So what? A man still got to eat, right? I blush. Right. At that moment, our food comes. I ordered for us in advance, he says. The meal looks wonderful. A large braised short rib, over a generous helping of creamy polenta with greens on the side. Italian, I say. My favorite. See, he says with a smile. We do have something in common. After dinner, he asks if I'm planning on skipping dessert tonight. I agree to split one with him, and he orders something chocolatey. I love chocolate. Another thing we have in common, he says. Careful. You might start to think that a scrappy Brooklyn girl and an Ivy League frat boy may actually be compatible. He's making fun of me, but I don't mind. After dessert and our second bottle of wine, I'm feeling friendly. A little too friendly. I don't want to end up back at his apartment again. I mean, I do, but I don't. He must sense my anxiety because he says, I'm not holding you hostage here. You can go home whenever you wish. Just say the word and I'll have my driver bring the car around. I nod. Yes. Dinner was lovely. But it's getting late, and I'm ready to go. He nods. Will you at least let me ride with you? It's his car, so I don't think I can actually say no, but I agree. When we get in the car, I give the driver the address to my office. Cal gives me a skeptical look. You're going back to work? I forgot something. I just need to stop in and get it. I can make my way home from there. He doesn't say anything. It's his look, the way his eyes seem to see right through me. That's what scares me so much. We pull up in front of my office a short while later. I get out of the car, and he gets out as well. We walk toward the front door. I had a nice time, Jones. I'm glad. I turn to him. He's looking me dead in the eye. The heat in his gaze is threatening to melt me down to nothing right there on the sidewalk. Like a magnet, I lean in toward him, but then I catch myself and take a step back before he can get his arm around me. Good night, I whisper. Then I turn and walk away. When can I see you again? He calls from behind me. I pause in the doorway and smile at him. Call me? He looks confused for a second. I put my number in your phone. He immediately grabs at his pocket and thumbs through his cell. A wide smile appears on his face. I smile back and then go through the door, letting it close behind me.
Caleb.
Mr. Jones, Mr. Jones. I give a start in my chair. Yes. Everyone around the conference table is looking at me expectantly. I'm sorry. Can you repeat that? What do you think about the proposal on the Bergman account? I'd zoned out. I wasn't even sure what was on the table. Whatever the group thinks best, I say. Excuse me. I get up from the table and walk out of the conference room. I need air. I leave the building to step outside. I'm not alone with my thoughts for long. Rob and Brad come running up to me. Meeting over already? I ask them. Well, there wasn't much to say after you'd made your grand exit, laughed Rob, clapping me on the back. Come on, let's go get lunch, Brad says, and then walks off in the direction of our favorite spot. So what's up with you, man? He asks me when we get settled in. What do you mean? You've been on another planet lately, he continues. You completely checked out in that meeting just now. I shrug. I'm allowed my off days like everyone else. It's that girl, says Rob with a smile. Ooh, says Brad, turning to me with a smirk. You mean the most beautiful woman on the planet? That, who you're talking about? They're clearly teasing me. Yes, her, I say, trying not to smile. She your girlfriend now, or what? I nearly choke on my salad. It's not the question that throws me off. It's the fact that I don't have a quick answer. Normally, I'd be the first to tell them everything, make jokes, share every ridiculous detail, and turn it into a story we'd laugh about later. That's just how it's always been. No filters, no second thoughts. But this time, I find myself keeping things to myself. She's different, and I don't really feel like putting her into the middle of one of our usual conversations. But now I'm finding that I want to remain tight-lipped where Madison is concerned. Which could only mean one thing. She'd really gotten to me. And I guess I knew all along, but it's only now that I'm silently admitting it to myself. I look up from my salad plate. A gentleman never tells, I say with a smile. The other two break out into a chorus of raucous laughter. Oh, you must have it bad this time, Playboy, laughed Rob. I don't answer, and instead concentrate hard on my plate. While they're laughing, I start to wonder what exactly it is I need to do to get Madison to spend the night with me again. I stir the pot one more time, and then set the sauce to simmer. I pace 1, 2, 3 times around my kitchen, and then finally I pick up the phone. Even though I couldn't stop thinking about her, I hadn't called. I didn't want to scare her off. But I couldn't wait any longer. She picks up on the third ring. Hello. Hey, I say. Cal. You were expecting someone else? She giggles on the other line. No. To what do I owe the pleasure? I just wanted to say hello. Well, hello. And to see if you were hungry. Right now. Yes, right now. I'm making dinner, and I wanted to know if you'd come eat with me. You cook? Sure do. Learned from my mother. Though my cooking will never be as good as hers is. Silence on the other line. Hello. I'm here. So dinner? Again, she doesn't answer. I can send the car to pick you up. No, she says finally, and my heart sinks. No. No, you don't have to send the car. I know the way. I'll be there in an hour. I almost jump into the air, but try to sound cool on the phone. Okay. I'll see you then. She arrives just after 8 o'clock. The elevator door opens, and she takes a few soft steps into the living room. Cal? Over here, I say, calling to her from the kitchen. She smiles and walks over to me. She sets a black plastic bag on the island. Moonshine? No, silly. Wine. Wasn't sure if you wanted a red or a white, so I got one of each. I hope I picked the right ones. I'm sure whatever you bought is fine, I say, motioning for her to come closer. Here, taste this. I hold out the wooden spoon I was stirring my sauce with. She comes closer and parts her lips a little before wrapping them around the spoon. She closes her eyes, and a satisfied look spreads across her face. She licks her lips. Delicious. I fight to control myself, watching her lips. But the stove is still on, and the last thing I need to do is to burn down my penthouse. Almost done, I say, turning away under the pretense of checking the sauce. Go ahead and get comfortable. Dinner's just about ready. She walks back to the living room, kicks her shoes off, and plops down right in the middle of my plush sheepskin rug. I smile. When the sauce is finished, I make 2 plates of pasta and pour some on. Then I grab one of the bottles of wine, 2 glasses, and bring it all to the living room on a tray. No, don't get up, I say to her. We can eat here. I'm letting her eat on my rug. I do have it bad. I set her plate in front of her and pour some wine. She dives right in, smiling as she chews. I let out a small laugh. What? She demands. I shake my head. Just seems like it's been forever since I've seen a woman really eat, that's all. Oh. She looks confused for a minute. Is that good? Very. I scoot a little closer to her and top up her wine glass. She holds my gaze for a split second and shifts her eyes around the room. They settle on my coffee table. You play Scrabble? She asks, her face lighting up. I turn and see that she's eyeing my deluxe Scrabble board. You want some of this, Brooklyn? All right, let's play. I let her win. At least that's what I tell myself. I put the board away and then move even closer to her on the rug. She leans back until she's leaning against the couch. There's nowhere for her to go, so I lean all the way in and kiss her softly. For a minute, we seem lost in each other. But then she pulls away. I don't understand the look she gives me. She looks frightened, as if she thinks I'm going to hurt her. I should go, she says, and all of a sudden the mood is very different. I want to protest, but I have a feeling if I press, she'll still run away, and then who knows when the next time I see her will be. Sure, I say after a minute. I'll have my driver take you home. Madison. I spread all the way out in my office chair until my hands and feet are hanging off of it. I don't recall ever being so lustful in my life. Is blue balls for women a thing? Because if it is, I surely have it now. For the umpteenth time, I ask myself why I ran out of there so quick. Why I didn't stay. I got nothing. I bang my head against the desk. It seems like this day isn't ever going to end. I tell myself for the umpteenth time that I should just forget about Cal. But something also tells me it might be a little late for that. I can't believe I didn't sleep with him. I look again at the clock on my desk. It's time to go. So what if I'm taking off a little early? I grab my purse and leave, locking up behind me. I need a drink. My stomach grumbles. And some food. I stop in at the gourmet burger spot to place a to-go order. A deluxe, please, I tell the man at the counter. And then, though I'm not sure why, I add, make that too. I grab 2 Belgian ales from the fridge and wait for my order. When the food is done, I pay the bill and then head back out onto the street. I'm walking, but not in the direction of my place. My office is near Cal's. And Cal's office is near his penthouse. So that means, logically, that I am near Cal's penthouse. My feet take me in that direction before I can think too much about it. And before I know it, I'm in front of his high rise. And then, I'm going through the door. And then, I'm in the elevator on the way up. I should call maybe. What if there's another girl there? I knock once, twice, 3 times on the door. No answer. Maybe he's at the gym. I'm being silly showing up here like this. I turn to leave. I get maybe 2 steps away before I hear the door open behind me. Madison. I turn on my heels and start to speak. But then I see him standing there topless and wrapped in nothing but a bath towel, and suddenly there are no words. He smiles and my cheeks start to burn. "What are you doing here?" he asks. Well, I start, struggling to find words that don't sound lame. I was in the neighborhood and, well, I thought I'd pick up a couple of burgers. He doesn't answer at first, and the silence gets to me quickly. "I'm sorry," I stammer. "I probably shouldn't be here, shouldn't have come by unannounced. I'm going to go." I turn to leave, but his voice calls me back. "The hell you are," he says. Then his smile widens, and his dimples deepen. "I'm hungry." He steps aside and lets me into the apartment. "I'll be right back," he says. "Let me go put some clothes on." I almost pout, almost tell him not to, but I will my mouth to stay shut. He comes back a minute later, donning a button-down and some jeans. "So what did you bring me?" he asks. I lay the food out onto the kitchen counter, and he walks over and hugs me from behind. I freeze for a second. The move is so unexpected, but then I ease into the embrace and let my body relax against his. "The sauce is for the fries," I say when he grabs at the tiny plastic cup. "Here, let me show you." I take one of the fries, dip it in the sauce, and hold it out for him. He grabs the fry between his teeth and makes a satisfied sound. Then he holds onto my hand and sucks my finger into his mouth. My breath catches. He keeps his eyes locked onto mine as he pulls my finger slowly out of his mouth. He leans in, and it looks as though he's going to kiss me, and I hold my hand against his chest. He stands back and looks at me. He smiles slowly. "I know what it is." "Know what?" "You want me to work for it?" "Pardon?" He backs up, takes his hands off me, and suddenly I feel a chill. "Okay," he says. "Okay what?" "Okay. I'll work for it." I shake my head. I'm not naive. "You only want one thing." His smile is back, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. "No, not naive," he says. "Unimaginative, maybe. I can think of a hell of a lot more than one thing I want, starting with those lips." He leans in again, and before I can protest, his lips are on mine. I don't try to break away this time. I just let myself enjoy it. When he pulls away, he whispers into my ear, "Thank you for dinner. You can go ahead and go home now if that's what you want." I open my mouth to protest, but he stops me. "No. Go ahead." Then he leans in so close his lips graze the corner of my mouth. "But make no mistake, Madison. You are mine. And I will have you again. Mark my words."
Caleb.
The night is hot and humid. Thankfully, though, the beer is ice cold. I press the cool bottle to my forehead in an attempt to cool myself down. I'm hot. But it isn't just the thick New York air. It's her. She has me hot. And while this isn't anything new, it's extra unbearable on this particular night. I'm a man who prides myself on my impeccable self-control. But this girl, she is about to make me lose it. And I'm not sure how I feel about that. One part of me wants the dam to burst. The other part struggles to hold on, afraid of what it will mean if I let her win. I press the bottle to my forehead again. It isn't working. There's only one thing that will work. And I know that now. I'll have to let her win. After a fashion, of course. I don't hear the soft footsteps approaching me. But I do smell her, and a few seconds later, she appears in my peripheral. It's like she's reading my mind. I'd asked her to meet me for a beer in the little bar downstairs from me. She agreed. She sidles up and sits on the empty bar stool next to me, with something of a smirk on her face. She puts a slim cigarette between her full lips. I smile, reach into my pocket for my lighter, and then light it for her. "2 more," I say to the bartender when he walks by. He nods, and I turn my attention back to the puzzle in front of me. Hot tonight, she says, her voice low and throaty, a slow smile spreading across her face. I nod, grinning. Indeed. Had she been just about any other woman, I'd have taken her by now. Countless times. But she's different. Special. Though I say that somewhat grudgingly. And while I can't deny that my body responds to her in the most intense way, I also don't want to ruin the trust we're starting to build. Our beers arrive, and we clink bottles. I can't stay out too late. I should probably go after this and start packing, she says. She mentioned something about a business trip earlier on the phone, but I only half caught it. I've got a better idea, I say, not fully in control of what was about to come out of my mouth, but it's too late now. What's that? I lean in, close enough that my lips almost brush her ear. Come upstairs with me, I whisper. She pulls back just a bit, eyebrows raised, surprise written all over her face. Don't tell me you didn't see that coming, I say with a smile. She casts a quick glance toward the rest of the bar. Everyone's caught up in their own world, laughing, talking, distracted. No one's paying attention to us. I gently guide her face back toward mine, with a finger under her chin. Don't worry about them, I say. They won't even notice we're gone. She takes a small sip from her bottle, her expression unreadable. Not angry. Not offended. Just considering. Real talk, I say. No more games. She nods, a quick flicker of a smile. No more games, she echoes. I want to be with you. Her eyes widen slightly, but she doesn't pull away. I hold her gaze. Steady. Intent. Do you feel the same? I ask. She doesn't answer right away, but her eyes don't waver. Just so I'm clear, she says at last, when you say you want to be with me, what does that mean to you? I smile, soft and sincere. It means I want to spend time with you. Just us. No distractions. I want to know what this could be. She tilts her head, studying me, as if trying to make sure I mean it. I take a small step closer. So, do you want that too? She hesitates, just a breath, and then finally says, yes. That one word is all I need. I toss a $10 bill onto the table and offer her my hand. She takes it. We leave the bar together, moving through the quiet lobby toward the elevators. I press the call button. She stands beside me, shoulders tight, her breath a little uneven. Breathe, I whisper. When the elevator arrives, we step in. Someone else moves to follow, but I hold out a hand and say politely, take the next one. Then I press the door button. The moment we're alone, we face each other. Neither of us moves at first. The elevator hums. Her eyes search mine. I reach for her hand, give it a reassuring squeeze. Whatever happens after this, I say quietly, I just want it to be something real. She nods. No more words. Just the shared understanding that we're both choosing this moment, together. I need you to do something for me. Again, she doesn't answer, but her eyes ask the question. I need you to let go. Completely. Submit to me. Give yourself to me. I watch her breath catch. Can you do that? She nods and then utters a breathless yes. I bend to kiss her again, pleased for the moment. The real test, however, was yet to come. The elevator dings, indicating that we'd reached our floor. I hold her gaze as the doors slide open. Then I place my hand firmly on the small of her back. Walk. We stumble into my room, still catching our breath from the corridor. I gently press her against the door while fumbling for the key. Our lips stay locked as I finally unlock it, and we slip inside, closing the door quietly behind us. I take a step back, smiling as I look at her. Slowly, I let my hand trace the outline of her silhouette in the soft light. She shivers slightly beneath my touch. You nervous? I ask softly. No, she whispers, eyes meeting mine. Good. I promise you're safe here. I reach out to hold her hands gently, guiding them together. Trust me, I say, we'll take this one step at a time. She nods, a hint of a smile playing on her lips. I step behind her, carefully holding a soft scarf from my jacket. I wrap it loosely around her wrists, not tight, just enough to hold them together. Her breath quickens, but there's no fear in her eyes. I gently drape the scarf over a nearby hook, and she stands steady, trusting. I move the scarf lightly along her back and shoulders, just barely brushing her skin. She relaxes a bit more. I pause and look back at her. If at any point you want me to stop, just say the word. She breathes out a soft poodle. I smile and nod, okay. Just tell me when. We stay like that for a moment, close, connected, the air thick with anticipation but calm, safe. I gently take her hand again, holding it with care. The tension between us grows, but I keep everything slow and respectful, making sure she feels safe. She breathes deeply, eyes closed, trusting me. When I finally let go, she leans against me, steady but a little breathless. I guide her gently to the bed, and she rests quietly, her face turned away, calm in the soft light. I sit beside her, reaching out to brush a stray strand of hair from her face. The room feels warm, still charged with something electric but tender. After a moment, she looks back at me, a quiet question in her eyes. I smile softly and nod. We move closer, slowly, sharing a gentle embrace that says more than words ever could. When the night finally draws to a close, we lie together quietly, letting the peace settle around us. Everything fades to calm. I'm not sure what wakes me, or how long I've been asleep. When I open my eyes, a thin beam of moonlight filters through the blinds, casting soft shadows across the room. She's still asleep on her stomach. I notice the faint marks on her skin where I'd left impressions earlier. Gently, I sit up and shake my head, then quietly get up to find the small vial of ointment I keep in my gym bag. I return to the bed and smile down at her. I wonder what she'll think of all this when she wakes, if it was what she hoped for, what she imagined. Careful not to disturb her, I begin to apply the ointment to the red spots. She stirs softly as I move to the other side. Try not to move, I whisper. Her eyes flutter open, and she looks up at me with a soft smile. What's that? She asks quietly. It's to help the marks heal, I reply. She relaxes back down, watching me as I gently rub the cream into her skin. Then she turns onto her back, wincing slightly as she shifts. Her eyes meet mine, and there's a quiet warmth there. Slowly, she reaches for me, and I move closer, our lips meeting in a gentle kiss. Her arms wrap around me, and we hold each other, the connection between us growing deeper. I trail kisses along her neck, and she sighs softly, leaning into me. I smile against her skin, savoring the closeness and the quiet comfort of the moment. We take our time, letting the night stretch out around us, filled with trust and tenderness. I gently roll her onto her back. She lets out a soft, disappointed sigh. So cute. She really thought I was going to let her win that round. I lift her legs gently, asking her to keep them up. She follows my lead without hesitation, a soft smile playing on her lips. I move closer, taking her hands in mine, firm but tender. There's something grounding about the quiet way we connect, the rhythm we fall into without words. Her expression shifts, eyes fluttering closed as she exhales a long, peaceful sigh. Her legs lift a little more, at my soft encouragement. You feel amazing, I whisper, just for her. She tenses slightly, like the moment is catching up to her, wrapping around both of us. What about you? She asks, voice barely audible. I'm right here, I murmur. Every step of the way. I let out a slow breath, the quiet surrounding us like a cocoon. She stirs, nestled in the space between sleep and wakefulness, and turns toward me with a sleepy grin. With a playful glint in her eyes, she reaches up and takes my hand, her fingers brushing mine with lazy affection. Our breaths mingle as the night stretches softly around us. She settles against my chest, hair falling loosely across my skin. Could use one of these right about now, she murmurs in that familiar, husky voice. I reach for another cigarette and hand it to her. We lie there, drifting in and out of sleep together, wrapped in a peaceful silence. After a while she asks, "What time is it?" "About 3, I reply without checking, feeling the moment more than watching the clock. She sighs softly. "I should probably go." "Why?" "It's late, and I've got a flight tomorrow." I chuckle. "So, She smiles, a little mischievous. You're not going anywhere. You're staying with me tonight. She laughs, and just like that, the decision is made. We fall asleep again, wrapped in quiet comfort. Later, I wake in the night, restless. I move closer to her, and soon we're connected again, finding ease in each other's presence. When she gently whispers, "No more," I pause, letting her rest peacefully. It's the smell of fresh coffee brewing that wakes me. I stretch out in a bed that I realize in the next instant is not mine, and for a second I panic. Then I remember. And smile. No going back now, Maddie. I get up and grab his shirt on the way out, toward the smell of the coffee. He's standing by the stove in just his underwear, and he runs and smiles when he hears me coming. Still here, I see, he says with a wry grin. Touché. I was half expecting to not find you here this morning. Can't run this time, I reply. My legs don't fully work yet. He slides a cup of coffee across the counter to me. Then he comes around to give me a good morning kiss. I hate to run, he whispers. But I have to be at work soon. You can stay here if you like. No. That's okay. I'll leave with you. I've got to get ready for my flight. He nods, and then disappears into his room to get dressed. I follow suit, and start the scavenger hunt for my own clothes. He reappears a little while later, dressed in dark slacks and a crisp white shirt. He seems to be struggling with his tie, so I go over to help him. He smiles down at me, and then bends his head for a kiss. Then he grabs me by the hand, and we head for the door. I'll have my driver drop you home, he says. In the car, he sits close to me, resting his hand on my knee, and then slowly sliding it inch by inch up my dress. I stop him when his thumb just touches the trim on my panties. Behave, I whisper. Why should I? Because, I say. You'll mess up your work clothes. I have more at the office. We laugh at this. Him, pawing at me in the back seat of a vehicle like a lustful teenager. A minute later, we pull up in front of his office. I can walk from here, I say. I move to get out of the car, but he catches my wrist. I want to ask you something, he says, his face suddenly solemn. What is it? There's a gala. It's sort of a big deal. Something we do every year. It's in a couple of weeks. He pauses. And I would love for you to accompany me. I almost gasp. Spending the night with him was already a big step for me. Now he wanted to parade me in front of all his business partners and friends. I don't know, Cal, I say after a minute. That's not really my scene. I recall the event Kim dragged me to a while ago. It's where we first saw each other. I understand. I do. But I really want you there. I want you on my arm. Think about it, at least. I'll think about it. He seems satisfied with this, and then grabs me by the back of my neck and kisses me deeply. Call me when you get there, he whispers. I nod, and get out of the car before I end up on my back in the smooth leather seat. He grins at me through the car window, and I poke my head through. Okay, I say. I've thought about it. I'll go. Then I turn to leave, having confirmed my suspicion. I was definitely falling for this man.
Saved by a Billionaire. Madison.
There she is, Caleb says as he comes into the bar on the ground floor of where his penthouse is. I told him I'd meet him here. I got back into town from my business trip this morning and promised I'd grab a drink with him. He picks me up in his strong arms and leaves a rather chaste kiss on my cheek. I give him a look that asks the question, "What's up?" He is usually much more full-on than this. He smiles. You are coming up after this drink, right? Wasn't planning on that, to be honest, Jones. Plan on it, he says with a commanding tone he can have at times. He lets me out of his grip, and I ease back onto the bar stool. It's only been a couple of days since our last little session, and my body still hurts. The smirk that flies across his handsome face lets me know he's thrilled with himself. His lips touch my ear as he says, "Legs working right yet?" I slap at his arm and blush. "You are a bad boy." "Sometimes." "Have you been a bad girl?" His eyes go dark and my stomach tightens. If he knew where I really went, I wonder if it would earn me more time in his bonds. More time at the end of his belt. "I really can't go up there with you tonight. I have a lot on my mind. The business trip has me making a lot of decisions about the future, which is coming at me hard and heavy. Rain check?" "Rain check." His hand tightens around my wrist and he looks intense. "You haven't spoken to me in 2 days, as you said you were so busy with meetings. Is what we did something you found you don't like?" "It's not that at all," I say and touch his cheek, running my finger over his strong jawline. "I actually found that to my liking, though I never thought I would like that sort of thing." Relief fills his face that I just realized was rather tense. "Good." He takes a deep breath. "For the last couple of days, I thought you weren't real happy with that." "And if that was the case, then what?" I take a long drink from the beer the bartender placed on the bar by me. His fingers run over my collarbone as he whispers, "Then we wouldn't do that anymore. You're special to me, Madison. If there's anything you don't like, you don't hesitate to tell me. Honesty is key, don't you agree?" His question about being honest has my insides squirming. What would he do if he knew the real reason I was out of town?
Caleb.
Something feels off with her. She's restless, distracted. I leave some money on the bar for her drink and gently take her arm. Upstairs now. I'm not taking no for an answer. I help her up, and she looks at me with a slight frown. I don't know how good company I'll be. I'm tired and a little grumpy. I can fix that. I press my hand lightly to her back, feeling the warmth between us. I just need to get her upstairs and comfortable. Once inside the elevator, she grins and teases, "So when do I get my real hello kiss?" "There she is, my little flirt," I say, pulling her close. My arms wrap around her, pressing her gently against the wall. She puts her arms around my neck, and our lips meet in a slow, tender kiss, our breaths mingling. The elevator doors open, and we step into my apartment without breaking apart. I kick off my shoes and lift her into my arms as she slips off her heels. She's clearly into this. Her kisses grow deeper, her hands seeking me out. We make our way to the bed, falling together softly. I press close and she lets out a small sigh. Her fingers move to undo my jacket, but I gently stop her and smile. "Who's in charge here?" I ask playfully. She breathes in deeply. "You." I chuckle and start helping her out of her skirt. She begins to unbutton her blouse, but I take her hand gently. "Not yet," I say softly. She smiles and lets her hands rest. I help her out of the last of her clothes, then lie her back on the bed, holding her hands gently above her head. "Not getting undressed?" I ask with a smile. I lift my head to meet her gaze. "Shush. Just relax and let me take care of you." She exhales softly, and I kiss my way down, stopping occasionally to look up and smile at her. She moves beneath me, and I gently remind her with a soft tap that patience is part of the game. Her eyes sparkle with mischief as she asks for more. I laugh quietly and oblige. I stand and pull off my shirt, giving her a teasing look. "Look what you've done to me," I say. She reaches out, trailing her hand lightly along my arm. Her eyes meet mine, asking permission without words, and I nod. We share a quiet moment, the air charged with anticipation but tender. I take her hand and guide it gently, savoring the connection. She leans back on the bed, eyes full of trust and warmth. I move close, kissing her softly as we let the night unfold slowly, savoring each shared moment.
Madison.
My eyes open, and it would probably be best for me to leave before Caleb wakes up. The man is insatiable, and kept waking me up after short periods of sleep to have a little bit more. I'm not complaining, but I am really tired. I squirm out of his arms and his eyes fly open. "Where do you think you're going?" Oh. I thought you might sleep better if I got out of your bed and let you stretch out. He takes my hands and pulls me back to him. I sleep better with you in my bed. Now lay back down and sleep, you silly girl. I'm not a silly girl, anything but that. I'd rather not get into why I can't sleep with him, so I snuggle back into his warm arms and settle back in. The reason I had to go on the supposed business meeting keeps running through my head. It was business, but it was family business. My mother died several years ago, and my father never was a real winner, and became less of one after she passed away from cancer. He got into running illicit substances for the local mafia, and a few years ago, he was caught bringing a bunch of them across the border and into Texas. He was caught at a checkpoint and promptly sent to jail and then prison. He's getting out soon. That's ending up as really bad news for me. He wants me to get in touch with his old boss. Talking to men in the mafia is not my idea of fun or safe. I don't plan on doing that, even though my father has threatened to ruin my music label business. It was he who got me kicked out of nursing school when he made me steal pharmaceuticals from the hospital I was training in. I was lucky they merely kicked me out instead of pressing charges on me. I was caught before I left the hospital, so they didn't lose any of their illicit substances. I guess that's why they let me off so easy. My father plans on staying with me in my tiny apartment, though I told him there could be no illicit substances or alcohol, as he has addictions to both. Truth be told, I don't want to deal with him at all, but when the man puts his mind to something like messing up the career I've managed to make for myself, well, let's just say he should be taken seriously. Caleb is bound to feel differently about me once my father arrives. He is a style cramper extraordinaire. I cannot see what my mother ever saw in the man. The rest of the night is going to be a long one, as I am now trapped like a rat here in Caleb's arms. There could be worse traps, though.
Caleb.
How about lunch? I ask Madison over my cell as I look out the window of my office and reminisce about last night. She was hot, hot, hot. It was obvious she missed me. I know I missed her. The girl has gotten way up underneath my skin. Can't. Too much work. Sorry. You have to eat. Let me bring something to you. No. Her tone is sharp, and the word comes out too shrill. Who do you have over there you don't want me to know about? I tap my desktop with my fingertips. Something is not right with her. At this moment, it's only me. Don't think like that, Jones. All right, I guess I can give you the time you need to straighten out your work. But you're staying the night with me. No, she says and sighs. I really need to stay at my place tonight. Every night, really. This staying with you is getting out of hand. Don't you agree? Not even a little, Madison. What's up with you? Nothing is up with me. Damn. I have things to do, Cal. That's all. I'll talk to you later. I have to go. I have a call I need to make, and you're slowing me down today. Slowing you down? Wow. Okay, bye. I end the call and want to throw the phone against a wall. The chick is making me so damn mad. Something is up, and I will get to the bottom of it. And it will be tonight, whether she likes it or not.
Madison.
Just as I walk out of my office, I see Caleb leaning up against the brick wall outside of it, a smoking cigarette in between his fingers, which he flicks away once he sees me. I feel a sudden rush of heat, but I'm also pissed as he doesn't listen to me, obviously. Stock much? I say between clenched teeth. I'm immediately sorry, as his handsome face looks like I just slapped him. We need to talk. You need to tell me what's wrong. I know there's something and you just need to get it off your chest. I walk quickly and he stays right by my side. There's nothing. It's just business has me stressed out. Nonsense. I'm not buying that, Madison. Let's stop up here at this bar. We can have a drink and a cigarette, and you can chill and tell me what's got you so worked up. I stop and look at him. Maybe I should tell him that my father is basically blackmailing me into having to take him in. Caleb's tie is dark blue, and his suit is black and expensive as hell. Everything about him screams Harvard and filthy rich. My father would have a field day digging something up to hold over Caleb's head to get as much of his money as he could. For Caleb's own protection, I need to end this before my father gets here and ruins what's left of my life. I'd rather not do this on the street, Cal. Call me later and we can talk over the phone. I try to walk away, but his hand squeezes my wrist. No. You're going to come home with me. There's something you're hiding, and I want to know what it is. Damn. I can probably help you out of whatever it is that's got you acting so crazy. Maybe he could. Maybe I should tell him. Searching his blue eyes for the answer, I'm startled as my cell phone rings. I grab it out of my coat pocket and see the area code in Texas. It's my father calling from prison. I can't answer it in front of Caleb. I press the button to ignore the call, and Caleb's eyes about pop out of his head. Who the hell was that, Madison? I have no idea. Salespeople have been calling me left and right. You're lying. I can tell. Your eyes go everywhere but to mine, and I know you're keeping something from me. Pulling me along. I can see his car and driver out of the corner of my eye. It pulled up just a little ways in front of us, and Caleb is pulling me towards it. We're going home. That's not my home, Caleb. Stop. You can't make me go. It doesn't make him stop dragging me along behind him. The driver gets out and holds the car door open, and Caleb slides me in and slides right in beside me. Take us home, he tells the driver. His voice is low and controlled and a lot scary. Your secrets aside, have you forgotten who you belong to? Now I'm just pissed. Just because we've slept together doesn't mean I belong to you. Is that really how you see what happened between us? Because that's a pretty harsh way to describe it. What we did wasn't love, Caleb. Let's be honest, it was just physical. You had me tied up using your belt. That's not romance. That's something else. Madison, I never hurt you. Please don't say it like that. And you told me you were okay with it. Who says that kind of thing out loud? Who really wants that? The look on his face shifts, uncertain, maybe even a little shaken. That's what I need. I need him to start seeing me differently. To understand I'm not the woman he imagined. Because I'm not. I'm not the right person for him.
Caleb.
She may as well have punched me in the stomach. Stop that, I manage to say, though it comes out barely above a whisper. She shakes her head. I won't. Something's off. I can see it in her eyes, the defiance, the hurt, maybe even fear. Instinct takes over. I gently reach for the back of her neck and pull her close, needing to feel her near me before she slips away completely. I kiss her, firmly, not forcefully, and her body tenses for a moment before she melts into me. Whatever turmoil is in her head, her body still recognizes me. Still wants to be close. Her arms wrap around me, and I hold her tighter, grounding us both in something familiar. The car slows and stops, and I glance outside. We've arrived at my building. The driver opens the door. I break the kiss and take her hand, guiding her out of the car and into the lobby with me. I don't know what's going on in her mind, but I need to get her somewhere safe, somewhere quiet. Somewhere I can talk to her without distractions. We step into the elevator, and the moment the doors close, I pull her in again. She's warm, trembling slightly. I think maybe there are tears on her cheeks. But I don't ask. Not yet. Right now, I just hold her. The elevator dings softly, and I lead her into the quiet of the penthouse. I want her to feel safe here, like she belongs. She follows me into the bedroom, and in the stillness between us, something shifts. We begin to undress, not rushed, not desperate. Just a quiet, unspoken need to be close again. To feel something real. She watches me as I remove my shirt, and I see something in her gaze, searching, uncertain, but still there. When I join her on the bed, I keep everything slow. Every touch, every kiss is a reassurance. This isn't about control. It's about reminding her how deeply she matters to me.
Madison.
I let myself really take Caleb in. His presence, his warmth, the strength in his eyes, it's all unforgettable. This might be the last time I ever see him like this. After tonight, I know I'll have to walk away. Not because I want to, but because it's the only way to keep him safe. He doesn't deserve the chaos that surrounds my life. His chest rises and falls, calm but steady. I wish I could freeze this moment. Caleb leans over me, concern etched into his eyes, and my heart aches. Those deep blue eyes have always made me feel seen, truly seen. I'll miss them more than I can admit. This one last moment, I want to give him my heart, even if he never knows it. He brushes a hand along my cheek, so gentle, so sure, and I close my eyes to hold back the tears. His kiss finds me slowly, tenderly. Every part of him is gentle, as if he already knows this might be goodbye. I feel safe in his arms, truly safe. The way he holds me, the way he protects me without even realizing it, it feels like coming home. I wish things were different. I wish I could stay. He presses his forehead to mine, whispering, "You mean everything to me." The tears finally fall, and I turn my face into his shoulder, hoping he won't notice. His hands move carefully, brushing along my back, holding me close. I memorize the feel of him, the warmth of his embrace, the rhythm of his breath, the sincerity in his voice. Because I know I won't get to feel this again. This is what love feels like. And I have to let it go.
Caleb.
My heart physically hurts. Madison has something weighing so heavy on her, she's talked in her sleep most of the night. I held her close as the night settled around us, our connection deep and quiet. She eventually drifted off in my arms, her breathing soft and uneven. Even as she responded to my touch, the tears never fully stopped. Whatever pain she carried, it was still there, just beneath the surface. I didn't let on that I realized she was crying. She was trying hard to hide the fact that tears were continuously running down her cheeks. Maybe in the morning, she'll feel safe enough with me to tell me her problems. For tonight, I can only guess, and I'm probably guessing much worse things than it actually is. It's run through my mind that she has a husband somewhere. Maybe a whole family, kids and all. Perhaps something else, like she had a reason for quitting the nursing school. Maybe she had an affair with a doctor who wants her back. Maybe she did something accidentally horrible to a patient, and the family is harassing her. That's what it seems like, that she feels very harassed. I know I can be overbearing, and a bit of a control freak. I'm not perfect. I just know what I'm asking of her is not harassing her. It's someone else. The phone call she didn't answer has me worried too. Who would be calling her that she didn't want to talk to, at least not in front of me? I run my fingers over her soft bare skin, and she shivers a little. Pulling the blanket up to cover her better, I pull her tighter against me. This feels like it's supposed to be. I wonder if this is it. The real deal. This feels like love to me.
Madison.
Bacon fills my senses, and the sunlight makes me slam my lids shut as soon as I open them. Caleb's voice creeps into the bedroom from the kitchen. "What do you mean, I have to be there? I told you I want to take the day off, to deal with some important things I have going on. So just explain to them that I agree with you and the rest of the partners." What does he have to deal with today, I wonder? My clothes are all in the living room. I'd like just once to be able to find my clothes and put them back on without making a scavenger hunt for them. His voice wafts in again. "Fine, damn it. I'll be there." Wrapping the sheet around me, I walk out to find Caleb picking up my clothes. He spins around with them and his face is red. His expression softens quickly, and he comes to me. "Good morning, baby." I'm picked up into his arms, and his mouth is on mine as he takes me back to the bedroom. "I really have to go, Cal." "I know. I do too. I had other plans for us today, but the damn partners need me." I breathe a sigh of relief that he won't be fighting me about leaving. I have a little more time before I have to break him. He's already dressed, the early riser he is. I pull on my clothes and know I have to go by my apartment to get ready for work. "See you later," I say as I step into my last shoe. "You're letting my driver take you home?" "I can grab a cab." I move towards the door. "No. You will take my car and my driver will take you home. I will grab a cab and go to my office." "That's too much trouble." "Really, I can catch a cab." "Damn." His arms fly into the air. "You're taking the car." End of discussion. Fine. I shut up and make my way out of the bedroom. Just as I reach the elevator, I feel his hand on my shoulder, and he spins me around. His arms go around me and his kiss melts me to him. Finally, he pulls his lips off mine, leaving them pulsing. "Have a good day, baby. See you back here tonight." He slips a gold key into my hand. The key to his apartment. I look up and nearly cry, but somehow manage to hold it all back. "A key?" He folds his hands over mine to close it in my grasp. "I want you to feel free to come and go as you please. Bring some clothes and things to make yourself more comfortable around here." I shake my head and know I can't do this. "Caleb, this is a nice gesture, but I suppose it's time to let you in on the truth." I try to hand him the key back, but he won't take it. I place it on the tall table near me and try to move past him. "Just tell me." He pulls me back to him. "This isn't working." "It's not, huh? The way you reacted to me last night tells me there's something more to it than this just isn't working." "There's no more to it than that? You're a distraction from what I really want. I have to put all my focus on my business right now. A relationship isn't a thing I can have right now. Maybe never. And you aren't really my type anyway." His eyes grow narrow, and the blue in them goes to a new level of deep. He releases my arm and shakes his head. "You thought this was a relationship?" He turns and laughs. "I gave you a key so you'd be easier to reach. That's all this is. You're just someone I can call when I need a distraction, nothing more." Though I know this is exactly what would happen if I made him feel he was nothing to me, it still hurts like I never imagined it would. "Then you shouldn't mind that we don't see each other anymore. Nice knowing you, Jones." I walk away and stay strong, keeping a stiff upper lip. All the way to the car, I keep it together. It's a blessing Caleb is letting me take this home. I manage to choke out my address before silent sobs rack my chest. If this is the right thing to do, why in the hell does it hurt so bad?
Caleb.
"You look like hell," Brad tells me as he walks into my office. "Thanks." I push back from my desk and get up, grabbing my jacket off the back of the chair. I guess it's time to get to the conference room for the important call I had to be here for. He claps his hand on my back as we walk out. "Is this about that chick you've been hanging out with?" "Nope." I keep walking and not talking. I've yet to talk about Madison with any of my friends, and now that it's over, I see no reason to start now. Maybe after the conference we can go get a drink, maybe some dinner. Brad pulls the glass door open, and I see the rest of the partners gathered around the conference table. This should be a damn great day.
Madison.
A week has passed since I left Caleb's penthouse. My heart has never felt this much pain. I keep thinking every night that the next morning it won't hurt so much, but it does. Even more than the night before, it seems. I want to call Caleb and see if he's okay. This is the date of the big gala he invited me to. I won't be going to that now. I won't be on his strong arm, the envy of so many women. No, I'll be home, biding my time until my father shows his face and begins the torment that is sure to come along with the way he lives. I still haven't contacted his old boss, and the phone calls from the prison stopped a couple of days ago. I don't know why they stopped. I hope my father found someone else to live with when he's released. A girl can dream, can't she? The door opens, making a chime sound, so I go to the reception area to see who's here, as Nicole, my receptionist, is on her lunch break. A man stands holding a giant bouquet of red roses. He offers me a wide smile and hands me an envelope. Here you go, Madison. And may I say you are every bit as beautiful as Mr. Jones said you were. I take the envelope from his outstretched hand and gesture for him to place the monster crystal vase full of flowers on a table in the reception area. Thank you, that's sweet of you to say. The young man bows for some odd reason and leaves. I open the envelope and pull out the card. At some time or another, the crazy man took a selfie of him and me as I slept in his arms. The picture is on the outside of the card. I open it to find only a few words printed inside. Hurt jerk, forgive me, come with me to the gala please XXOO. The chime goes off again, and another man walks in holding a large white box. You have to be Madison. Oh my, Mr. Jones wasn't kidding when he said you were gorgeous. I smile and gesture for him to put the box on the receptionist's desk. What do we have here? He pulls the top off, revealing a magnificent and horribly expensive black dress with dark blue accents. You will be to die for in this, if I may say so. The man spins on his heel and leaves without another word. I pull the dress from the box and hold it out in front of me. Slim lines show me this will fit me much like a glove. I peer into the box to find a nice pair of heels to go with it. Just as I start thinking about the jewelry I have to wear with it, the door chimes again, and in walks another young man. He has a black box and a smile on his face. Wow. What a knockout, just like the boss said. You work for Mr. Jones, I ask. I keep his car washed and detailed at all times. I'm Jeff. I'm also his nephew. It's real nice to meet you, Madison. I hope we see you around a lot. You know, family gatherings and stuff like that. Christmas is just around the corner. I sigh and say, your uncle and I aren't like that, Jeff. But that's a really nice thing to say. We'll see, he says, then leaves. I can't stop myself and say, I know, unfortunately. But I would be a real pain not to go with him to this thing. I can do that much for the man. I pick up my phone and tap in a text to him. Pick me up at 8 and thanks for the things, they're all beautiful. My phone dings right back with a text from him. You are beautiful. I will be there and thank you XXOO. This is so not smart for my poor heart, but I can't let him go alone. Tomorrow I'll break it all off again. There should be time before my father arrives, which could be any time now. At least I'll be at the gala tonight. And with Caleb. My heart just skipped a beat for some odd reason. This has to be what love feels like. Too bad I can't have that in my life.
Caleb.
I know I've kept her a secret, Mom. I can't believe Jeff told his mother. Dang. Tomorrow, dinner, promise me, Mom says with a not taking no for an answer attitude in her high voice. If she agrees, I'll definitely bring her. But don't count on it for sure until I talk to you tomorrow. She still has something she hasn't let me in on. I know she's doing this as a social favor. Well, she might love me too. I mean, I hope she thinks about me like I do her. You love her, don't you, son? I do. The words actually coming out of my mouth numb my brain. Tonight has to be magical to make her see we are meant to be together. Gotta go, Mom. It's time for me to leave. Love you, Caleb. Love you, Mom. I end the call and take the little black box with the not-so-little engagement ring in it. A little silent prayer I give and head out to the car.
Madison.
I have to admit, the dress is fabulous, and the heels even feel fantastic. I've made a pact with myself not to look up the designers and find out how much he paid for this stuff. I know I would probably faint if I knew how much this all cost. They'll all go back tomorrow. I'll give myself this evening though. I need it. I miss Caleb more than I thought possible. One little dose of him should get me over the hump. A deep breath I take, then head out to meet his car. I said to be here at 8, and his driver is always punctual. I didn't give him my apartment number, so he can't come up and surprise me. I pass the mirror near my door and stop to admire how the jewels sparkle, and think this is as close to looking like a princess I'll ever get. The elevator takes me down to the ground floor, and I walk out looking for the car. "Hey, is that you, Maddie?" a man asks. I turn to find my father standing behind me. A brown paper sack in one hand and a large bottle of beer in the other. "What are you doing here?" He comes towards me with his arms open. "Aren't you glad to see your daddy, pumpkin?" "I've got somewhere to be. If you can't tell by my dress, you'll have to go somewhere else until tomorrow." I step back as he comes closer. "No," he shouts, then shakes his head and stops himself. "Maddie, just let me into your apartment. I need to get some things going, and I need a place to set up my business. If you know what I'm saying, baby girl?" "Yeah, you need a place to sell illicit substances out of." "That is not happening. What's in the bag?" "A little of this and a little of that." He shakes the bag as if it's enticing me. "You might want a little something for your party tonight. A little blow maybe. It'll help you stay up late and get your party on." My stomach twists. This is my father offering me illicit substances. I shake my head. "You disgust me. Do that somewhere else. My place is off limits." I turn on my heel and walk away. The car isn't here yet. I glance up and down the street, desperate for it to appear. I need to leave. Now. Suddenly, my arm is wrenched behind my back, and my father forces me toward my building. "You're going to let me in," he growls. "And if you don't do what I say, I might just knock some sense into you. Don't test me, Maddie. I won't put up with your attitude." "Dad. Stop." He pushes me hard and I fall to the ground. My present attire doesn't make protecting myself very easy. The dress is tight and makes getting up nearly impossible. My father grabs a handful of my hair and pulls me up off the sidewalk. "Get inside. There will be no party for you." For the love of God, why didn't I tell Caleb my apartment number? "Look, stop. Please." I shout. Only a few people are out and one stops. "Hey. Let her go," a lady calls out. My father turns and I fly as he holds my hair tight. "Mind your business, tramp." "It's okay, lady," I say. "Please don't get involved. He might hurt you." She shakes her head and walks away. "I will hurt you. Keep walking." My father turns back towards the building and pulls me along as I try not to fall, as he has me walking backwards as he pulls my hair. "Please just let me go. I'll take you inside. I swear. Just let me go." The brick wall of my building finds me quickly, as he throws me up against it. He's let go of my hair, but his fist is about to connect with my face, and all I can do is brace myself for the punch.
Caleb.
What the hell? I jump out of the car and race to stop some man from punching the love of my life. The way Madison is just waiting for the punch has my mind reeling. She knocked a big-ass man out before, so why is she going to let this old guy hit her? "Hey, creep." I shout, but the man is so focused on Madison he doesn't turn back. I grab his balled-up fist as he draws it back and he finally looks at me. "Buzz off. This is none of your concern. This is between me and my daughter." "This is your father?" I ask in disbelief. Madison's eyes were squeezed shut as she prepared to take the punch. She opens them and relief fills her beautiful face. "Caleb. Thank God." I twist the man's hand, and pull it behind his back, and press him to the wall he had Madison up against. "Get behind me, Madison," I order. She moves behind me, as I hold her father to the wall. Sirens fill the air, as someone must have seen what he was doing, and called the police. "You okay, baby?" I ask her, as I feel her arms go around me from behind. "I am now." She buries her head against my back, and I can feel her body shaking. I want to beat the living soul out of this man. But since the cops are coming, I'll keep my temper. "Maddie, I will beat you up once this jerk lets me go." "Oh, hell no." I pull him back and slam him back against the bricks. "Shut up. You'll never lay a hand on your daughter again, you good-for-nothing." She tightens her arms around me and whispers, "Thank you, Caleb." In a flurry of dark blue, several policemen swarm around us, and one takes over my hold on her father. "What's going on here?" one of the policemen asks. Madison's father answers, "This girl is my daughter, and she was being disobedient. I was merely taking her back up to our apartment. I didn't hurt her. Tell them, honey." He looks at her, as the officer turns him to face us. I pull her into my arms, and she buries her face in my chest. "He doesn't live with me," she says. "He's fresh out of prison, and if you check that bag in his hand, you should find enough evidence to put him back there." On the ground he goes as the cops cuff him and take the bag and open it. "Jackpot," one of the officers shouts. "Thanks for the tip, honey." I hug her close. "I'm so sorry this happened. We were just a little late. It will never happen again." "You want to file assault charges, miss?" the head officer asks her. "She does," I answer. Her father shouts from his place on the ground. "Shut up, whoever you are. Don't listen to him. He's nobody." "Tell them," I tell Madison as I turn her to face the officer. "I want to press charges, sir. He's my father, and I love him as such, but he is an awful man and really shouldn't be let loose on the streets. I want to prosecute him to the fullest extent of the law." I squeeze her shoulders and pull her back to me. "That's my girl." I kiss the side of her head. "She's my girl," her father snaps. An officer picks him up and pushes him towards a waiting police cruiser. "No more of that crap. I'm putting you in the car where you can no longer hurt that girl." With a loud yell that sounds like it's out of a horror movie, her father shouts, "I will get you for this, Madison. Mark my words, they can't keep me locked up forever, you little tramp." I pull her close to me. "Can I take her up to her apartment?" I ask one of the officers. He nods. "One of us will come up and get a full statement and let her sign the document about the assault charges." "What's the apartment number?" 726, she says, and I take her away from the terrible scene. "Is that what had you acting so crazy?" I ask as I lead her inside. Her green eyes shine with tears as she looks up at me. "You saw the man. If he knew you and I were seeing each other, he'd have blackmailed you for money for the rest of his life. I couldn't do that to you. I couldn't bring that into your life." As we enter the elevator, I kiss her forehead. "You should have told me and let me deal with that. I do know a thing or two about the law. A Harvard grad, if you will recall. He must have been threatening you from prison." She nods. "He was. He said I had to let him live with me. His plan was to sell illicit substances out of my apartment." I see. My heart pounds hard in my chest, as all I really want to do is go hurt the good-for-nothing. Well, that's over. Thank you, Caleb. I don't know what I would have done if I hadn't accepted your invitation. He'd have gotten inside, and then I'd never have gotten out of this thing. I'll get cleaned back up, and after I talk to the officer, we can get on the way to the gala. We will do no such thing. You've been through a traumatic experience, Madison. Give yourself a little while to mentally deal with that. We come to her door and walk inside. The apartment is minuscule, and though clean and furnished nicely, it's nearly suffocating in here, it's so small. Madison. I feel like I'm in shock or something, as I wash the makeup off my face and look into the mirror. I have a scratch on my left cheek from where my father pushed me up against the brick wall. My forehead is red where it bumped the wall. The bathroom door opens and Caleb comes inside with a pair of sweats. Put these on, and after you talk to the cops, I'm taking you home with me. You don't have to, Cal. I'll be fine. He's not getting out anytime soon. His finger touches my chin, and his voice is firm. I'm taking you home. End of discussion. No use arguing with him. He will get his way in the end, and I'm exhausted anyway. Okay, thank you. Gently, he runs his fingertip over the scratch on my cheek. Damn good for nothing, he mutters. Did he do this to you a lot as a kid? My mother ran interference. She got more beatings than I did. Only because she placed herself between us. He pulls me into his arms and sighs. I wish you would have let me in on that part of your life, baby. I never would have done what I did to you. I press my hand to his chest so he lets me go a little, and I can look him in his eyes. Caleb, I swear to you that I like that. I didn't think of it like a punishment. It was exciting, and I don't want you to think anything different. My father beat me. It wasn't anywhere near what we did. You sure? He asks with concern etched on his handsome face. I nod, and cup the back of his neck with my hand and pull him towards me. Now, how about you give me a kiss, as I have missed you like I could never have imagined. Good. Never leave me out of things again. I never want this to happen again. I nod, and pull him to me. His lips touch mine, and fire rips through me with the intense emotions I have. Slow swirls he makes with his tongue around mine, and I know without a doubt things will be okay again. Caleb. Though nothing went as planned, I finally have Madison back home and snuggled up in bed. I'm bringing her a glass of wine, and a little something else. Hey, she says as I come into the bedroom. She sits up and props a few pillows behind her back. I hand her the glass and sit down next to her on the bed. She sips her drink and grins as she sets the glass aside. Her fingers hook into my lapels. Lose the suit and join me, handsome. One thing first, I say and pull the little black box from my pocket. She looks at the box in my hand, and her hand goes to her mouth. She shakes her head in what I hope is just disbelief, and not her answer. I open the top, and her eyes go wide. Then she looks at me. I'm tired of playing games, Madison. I knew it from the moment I laid eyes on you, that you were the one. Will you please make me the happiest man in the world, and become my wife? It takes her a small eternity to answer me, and my hands are on the verge of shaking. She clears her throat, and I can tell her answer was taking so long because she couldn't talk. Yes, she manages to get out before the tears start to fall. I place the ring on her finger and kiss behind her ear. Thank you. I love you, Madison. Her arms go around me, and she holds me to her tight. I love you too, Caleb. Looks like all's well that ends well.
The end. Sneak peek for sensual sounds. We hope you enjoyed listening to Billionaire's Secret Attraction by Michelle Love. Now please listen to a sneak peek for Sensual Sounds by Michelle Love. Sensual Sounds, a Rockstar Menage. Chapter 1. Tommy.
Listen, Joe, I know you're pumped, but we just got back. Why not give us a couple of days before we pack up our things and head out again? I try to sound casual about it, but I'm hoping he knows I'm dead serious. I really don't want to swing another European tour right now, and I can sense that's what he's about to suggest. I know, but think about it, Tommy. You guys are riding high on life right now. Sold-out stadiums, new fans in every city, and did I mention that it's a great way to increase sales on the previous albums? I wince knowing he's right. This is the first project that's reached this level of success, and the more we push it on the public, the more likely we'll be to pull some of our other work out of the ditch. But you have to factor in the cost of us getting over there, not to mention the cost of hotels, and all the other stuff I just don't want to deal with right now, I reply. I hear an exasperated sigh come through the phone, and though I can hear a smile in his voice, I sense he's forcing the charm. Profit, my friend. Profit. You aren't looking at the big picture right now, and I really wish you would. Do you realize the kind of profit you could be looking at right now if you guys suck it up for a few months and give the public what they want? You don't want to be a one-hit wonder. I feel tension growing in my chest at the accusation. Sure, we've had a tough time getting our foot in the door as a band, but that doesn't mean that our latest hit is going to throw us into one-hit wonder status. Our sound is good. Our lyrics are good. Our rhythms are excellent. No one is talking about this song as being anything but great. We've got to sleep sometime, Joe. I try a different angle. Before he has the chance to respond, my phone chirps and I glance down. I don't recognize the number, but there's something vaguely familiar about it. My first response is to ignore it and continue my conversation with Joe, but there's something else compelling me to answer. Hello, I say at last, after putting Joe on hold. Yes, may I speak to Mr. Bridges, please? The voice coming through the line sounds professional. I'm curious how she knows my name, but I'm still drawing a complete blank. Yes, this is Tommy Bridges. Can I help you? I'm beginning to suspect she must be some sort of telemarketer, and I'm preparing to tell her off. This is Cindy Davis from Hope Hospital and Psychiatric Center. How are you doing today? She asks. Fine, thanks. I keep my reply short and sweet. I am calling in regards to your father. Unfortunately, while the cancer is still in stage 3, it has metastasized once more, and he's in the hospital. I feel a twinge in the pit of my stomach, and my heart skips a beat. What the heck's wrong? Is he dying? I ask abruptly. I no longer feel the need to be polite. Though neither I nor any of my brothers have had a good relationship with our father for years, the thought of him passing is enough to make me feel anxious. I'm not able to share much more information on the phone, but he did put in a request that I reach you and tell you he would like to visit as soon as possible. She is speaking in a low, gentle voice, and I know it's merely the training that has her doing so. I curse under my breath once more. A visit? What does he mean by that? It doesn't sound like he's going to be going anywhere anytime soon, I snap. I think he means for you to come here. He wants to see you and all your brothers. So far, you're the only one I've been able to reach. I can hear an almost accusatory tone in her voice, but I shrug it off. We live a bit of an unconventional lifestyle, so we have to be careful about the information we make public. I don't want to tell her there's another reason all my brothers had their telephone numbers changed, and that was mainly so they didn't have to hear from our father. Right. She drags out the word, and I can sense she sees right through my lie. Anyway, thank you for getting a hold of me with the update. I'll be certain to spread the news on to my brothers, and we'll be in touch, I lie. I'm not entirely sure I'm going to say anything at all at this point. What is there to say? That our father is still fighting cancer, and he's probably going to die from it one day. We've known that already for years. The prognosis hasn't changed anything in all this time. I would encourage you to be timely about it, she says. I don't give her time to continue with a lecture, thank her once more, and hang up the phone. As I hit the button to return to my call with Joe, however, I can't shake the guilt that's quickly growing in the back of my mind. Thought I'd lost you, Joe jokes when I get back on the line. It was something with my father. I guess he's not doing so hot, I say, my voice more absent-minded than I intend for it to be. Oh crap, I'm sorry to hear that. He dying? Joe asks. These days, he's gotten to be as callous about the situation as the rest of us. I'm not exactly sure how bad he is. He wants to see us, I say, my mind clearly still on other things. Are you going to? Joe prompts. I mean, shouldn't we? He's our dad after all. If he kicks the bucket, I think we'd all regret not getting to see him one more time, I snap. I'm not sure why I'm feeling so emotional about this, but I don't want to talk about it. Well, why don't we pencil it into the schedule? Joe suggests. The hell do you mean? I ask. I mean, let's take the tour stateside instead of going over to Europe. I bet you'll get some attention going back home, small town though it is. Not to mention, you can get seeing your father out of the way, and hopefully increase sales some more. I can hear he's already planning the trip without me, and I sigh. I know he's right, and the way he's presented the idea makes it even harder for me to turn him down now. The truth is, it would be a great way to continue with the promotion of the album while also getting to see our father. For all I know, it might be the last time. You still there? Joe's voice comes through the phone, and I realize I haven't answered in a few moments. Yeah. Listen, you work out the details like you always do. I'm going to get a hold of the guys. They're going to need as much warning as they can get. Joe laughs, though I'm only half joking, and I hang up the phone. I sigh as I drop into a chair and drag my hand over my eyes. It's been years since we've been home, and just as long since any of us have had any true contact with our father. Regardless of the circumstances, this wasn't going to be a pleasant trip by any means. As far as I'm concerned, the sooner we can get this trip over and done with, the better. Suddenly, I almost wish we'd decided to head back over to Europe.
Chapter 2. Nikki.
Why don't you take it easy and treat yourself tonight? You know, go out and do something. Hang out with one of your friends. I'm surprised you don't have a date lined up already. I know Mr. Harvey is just being polite, but I've always hated that comment, even coming from him. I smile. I mean, I've never really been one for relationships. And I don't know if going out is a good idea tonight. I mean, maybe it would be better if I stayed late and saw how Mr. Bridges gets on. I look over my shoulder down the hall, but Mr. Harvey rests his hand on my arm, looking at me with compassion in his eyes. He sighs. Look, Nikki, I know it's not easy for you, but you've got to trust me on this. This isn't the kind of job where you can afford to take on everyone's problems. Your job is to sit there, listen and offer advice, then go home and enjoy your evening at the end of the day. He tries to smile, but I shake my head, ignoring him. Mr. Harvey has been a good friend, a mentor, and my boss since I came to work at Hope Hospital and Psychiatric Center, and I know he's right. He's been walking these halls for longer than I've been alive. Not only does he have the credentials, he's also got the experience to back up what he's saying, and no amount of arguing is going to change that. But I can't help it. Ever since I was a young girl, I've had a heart for others. It's part of the reason I went into therapy, and it's part of the reason I chose to work at this particular clinic. This clinic specializes in patients with severe anxiety and depression. This is the place people who struggle with illicit substances. This is the place where I can truly reach out and help those who are in need. And lately, I've taken a particular liking to Mr. Bridges. If I'm being honest, there's more than one reason for this. Not only is he a kind old man who is very lonely, but he's also the father of 5 boys I have always had crushes on. Well, at one time they were boys. Now they are grown men, each with a solid rock and roll career. They formed the band in high school, and though not many in our peer group thought they'd make it very far, they are now selling out stadiums around the world, and have an album on the verge of going platinum. At least that's what I've heard. Well, if you aren't going to make the decision for yourself, I'll make it for you. You've put in enough hours today, Nick. Go home, and I'll see you in the morning. Mr. Harvey brings my attention back to the present, and I give him a grim smile. I want to stay later and talk to Mr. Bridges some more. Even though he's not officially my patient, what with the conflict of interest and all, I still like to check in on him every day if I can. Today, I want to hear him chat about his boys and how he hopes they're going to come visit him. I don't want to go home to my lonely apartment. But Mr. Harvey is my boss, and I have no choice. When he tells me to do something, I have to do it, or I risk the possibility of being written up. I'm sure he wouldn't do that to me, knowing that it wouldn't look good on my resume so shortly out of college. But then, I don't want to tempt him. He doesn't wait for me to respond, turning and walking back up the hall toward the back rooms. Watching him walk away, I reach up and unbutton the top of my uniform as I try to decide what to do with my evening. If I have to go home, I may as well stop by the store and get something to treat myself with. It's a Friday, after all, and if I'm going to be spending it alone on the couch with my Netflix account, I'm going to be doing it with a pint of ice cream. And finally, last but certainly not least, lack of a romantic partner is going to be playing in town next week, the voice on the radio cheerfully announces. I look down at my dashboard in disbelief. Lack of a romantic partner is the Bridges Boys Band. I know the clinic was going to try to get a hold of the brothers and let them know their father wanted to see them, but I haven't heard any updates, and I can't help but wonder now if they were successful. You don't say? They're our own boys. That's going to be a show to remember, the other voice on the broadcast replies. I roll my eyes. Small-town radio DJs are never very good at reporting any kind of local news, and these two young guys, who I used to know in high school, are certainly living up to that standard. I turn off my car, save for the lights and radio, in the parking lot of the grocery store. I want to go inside and get my ice cream so I can be out of there before the rest of the after-work crowds show up, but I have to hear the rest of this first. It's been years since I've thought of any of the Bridges, yet this week alone, I've reconnected with their father and talked more about each of them than I ever thought I would again. I blush as I think of the crushes I used to have on each of them. That family was certainly blessed in the gene department, and each of those boys had his own unique charm. At times, I would even be harboring a crush on more than one of them at the same time, making it even harder when they were both in the same room. But I was awkward and homely in high school, certainly not the kind of girl any of the older brothers would have bothered giving a second glance. Yes, I'm still a little bitter about that fact, but then there's another part of me that argues that it would be nice to see them again, despite the tinge of awkwardness I might feel at seeing my puberty-fueled, unrequited crushes again. Perhaps they'll take the time to stop in and visit their father while they're in town. That will make his life far more bearable than it currently is, and the thought of it makes my heart skip a beat. Tickets are on sale now on our website, or you can plan on stopping in here at the studio to pick some up. I wouldn't wait, these are going to go fast, the first voice chimes through the radio once more. It's about time, I mutter as I grab my phone, relieved that they've finally given the information I was waiting to hear. I've made my decision, and I'm buying a ticket to the show. They've probably only improved with age. After all, I can't imagine they would be able to travel the world if they haven't. I smile as I slip my phone in my purse. Suddenly, my night doesn't seem as dreary as it did. The concert's just a few days away, plenty close enough for me to start getting excited for it now. In fact, I almost start thinking of this ice cream that I'm going to call dinner as something of a celebration. Almost.
Chapter 3. James?
I don't know. Maybe if you changed your number, this wouldn't have happened. You know I don't want to have anything to do with him, and neither does anyone else. I shake my head angrily, amazed that Tommy had the audacity to present such an idea. Look, James, I know you're upset. I was too at first. But this is Dad we're talking about. He might not have a lot of time left, and I would hate to think of how we would feel if we had this chance to go see him and didn't take it. Tommy gives me a look, the one he'd so often given us as kids, when he'd have to act like the dad our father never was. At the very least, it's only fair to tell everyone the message I got. We're going to be in the area anyway. If they want to see him, they can. If they don't, that's up to them. Tommy looks away as he continues to speak, and I shake my head. I know he's right. I would be pissed if he'd gotten this message and hadn't told me. Perhaps even more pissed than I am right now. You realize the only reason we're going to be in the area anyway is because you and Joe have decided to tour through the U.S. Last I heard, we were going to be doing another European circuit. I cross my arms and give him a look. He might plan most of the trips with Joe, but I'm still aware of what's going on, more than he thinks I am. Again, this might be our only chance. I don't know how bad off Dad is. The chick who called me didn't say anything about how much time he had left, just that the cancer is spreading and she feels we should visit sooner rather than later. Tommy lights a cigarette, and I can sense he's growing agitated with the conversation. I don't give care. I'm already agitated, and he can be too for all I care. James, I know you're pissed off at what Dad did to us. We all are. But I also know you don't blame him entirely. We had a messed up childhood, but so did a ton of other kids. We can put it behind us to see him one more time, can't we? Besides, don't you want to shove it down everyone's throats how well we've been doing? He grins and I can't help but smirk. It's true. We certainly got our fair share of being picked on in high school. Not just through high school, but in junior high and as far back as we can remember. It's part of the reason I'm so angry with my father now. I remember going to him time and time again, telling him that the kids at school were mean to us. His answer was always the same. If you want to make it in the real world, you'd better grow a pair and tell the bullies to buzz off. It was good enough advice in and of itself, but none of us ever saw our father grow a pair himself. In fact, we all have vivid memories of him getting blackout drunk on a Tuesday night just because he had the bottle of whiskey in the fridge. After our mom died when we were very young, he turned to alcohol to solve all his problems, and he was never able to give it up. It was a problem that only gained traction through the years, and by the time he was diagnosed with liver cancer, none of my brothers had much contact with him at all. Sure, he liked to reason that our ungrateful attitudes were the reason we wanted nothing to do with him, but the fact of the matter is that it has less to do with us than it does with him. It has everything to do with the fact that he wasn't there for any of us when we needed him. It certainly doesn't do a lot for me wanting to be there for him now. But then I can't ignore the fact that Tommy had been like a second father to me, to all of us, and he has a real point. He doesn't want to see Dad any more than any of us, but he also doesn't want us to end up living the rest of our lives filled with regret that we didn't let this go when we could have. It's a messed up situation, and while I want it to just go away, I know for a fact it's not going to. Besides, I have a feeling Tanner's eager to head back. Clayton, Ohio, our hometown, holds more than memories. It's where Tanner's daughter calls home too. Now, none of us would ever call his daughter a mistake. Little Aria is by far one of the best things that has happened to any one of us, uncles or not. But it is safe to say that the little girl certainly wasn't planned, and though Tanner maintains next to no contact with the girl's mother, he's going to leap at the opportunity to see Aria again. And I can't blame him for that. He doesn't have shared custody, and is only limited to visitations. I guess it's to be expected, considering the life we so proudly lead. Though I can't help but wonder from time to time if he would change his lifestyle for a life with his daughter. Having no children of my own, I can't imagine that I can relate to how he feels about the situation, though I can speculate. When are you going to tell the others? I ask, trying to embrace the more practical side of this situation. Tommy is nearly finished with his cigarette, and he takes another long drag before answering me. I already texted everyone. You're the only one who has bothered to respond. His words hang in the air for a few awkward moments, and I can't help but wonder how the rest of my brothers are taking the news. I can imagine they're all pissed off about it in one way or another, and I think it's perfectly understandable if none of them knows what to say. This has come out of the blue for all of us, and I doubt I'm the only one who's going to need convincing that it's a good idea to go. Sure, Tanner might have the added incentive of seeing his daughter, but that doesn't mean Nathan or Janice will be on board. As far as I know, Janice has made it clear that the next time he intends to see our father is when we're standing around his grave at his funeral. But then, if Tommy has been able to get through to me and convince me that this is a good idea, I'm sure he can get through to our younger brother as well. I'm sure they'll respond when they're ready to process this, Tommy says as the silence grows heavy. I nod. I could use a moment to clear my head, but there are more urgent matters I need to handle. I'm sure Joe's going to be in touch with the details, as he always is. He wants us down there within the next few days, Tommy calls after me. I lift my hand to show him that I've heard, but I don't stop or turn around. It's the same old routine with Joe, and I know the drill. I don't need my brother to tell me how we're going to work this out. We always do things the same way. Of course, I know he's just trying to fill the awkward void he's probably feeling himself right now by trying to micromanage. And I can't blame him for it. I thought we were done with this hit, our hometown, our father. Now, evidently, we are not. So I better get used to the fact that some old, unpleasant memories and feelings might start to rear their ugly head. In a matter of a few days, we will all be heading home.
Chapter 4. Tanner.
So, what's your take? You think this is just something Dad's dropping on us because he wants something, or do you think his past is finally catching up with him? Janice looks from one face to the next, waiting for one of us to answer the question. Nobody answers. How would any of us know what's going on inside Dad's head? And even if we did, will it ultimately change what we're going to do? This has got to be one of the most messed up decisions I've ever had to make, and if it weren't for my daughter, I don't think I would even consider going back home. To be honest, even with my daughter there, I'm not certain I want to go. I know how much it can mess a kid up not to have a dad in their life, but at the same time, I know how much it can mess a kid up to have a bad dad in their life. I was that kid. I had a dad, sure, but he was one of the most messed up dads I can imagine. There have been more times in my life when I wished he wasn't there than when I was glad that he was, and I don't ever want to make my daughter feel that way. I want to be a happy presence in her life, and if I'm going to do that, I have to get it together before I can make her a constant part in my life. The decision's all but been made. Joe's working out the hotel and everything right now. He's going to get back to me once he has more information, Tommy informs everyone. Janice still seems really pissed by the situation, but I can't think of a thing to say. At least you're going to get to see your kid, Nathan chimes in. It's the first he's spoken since Tommy told us of this messed up situation, and I want nothing more than to tell him to buzz off. That is, if you're going to bother to see her. I don't recall seeing you too excited about this whole thing either, I snap back at him. I'm not going to take anything from any of them. I don't care if they do have a point. And why the hell would I be excited about this? I was thinking we'd be heading back over to Germany, not the middle of nowhere, Ohio. Nathan shoots back. He crosses his arms, and I puff out my chest. I'm not afraid to get into a scuffle with any of my brothers. I might not be as big as they are, but they've never intimidated me. Calm down, both of you. The last thing we need is for one of us to show up with a black eye. James steps in between us, putting his hands on our chests and pushing us in opposite directions of the bar. James is right. Not to mention we don't need to make headlines before we head home. You know it's going to be bad enough being around everyone. Tommy drains the rest of his whiskey coke, and silence takes over among us for a few minutes. He's right. There really isn't anyone back home that any of us want to see. Besides Aria. Look, it's going to be 2 days tops, and then we'll be moving on to the next town. Let's just suck it up and pretend that it's another stop on the road. We can deal with the fans and Dad, and move on like it never happened. You know Dad doesn't have that much time left. I can't imagine this is going to take more than a couple days. It's not like it's going to change our lives. James looks from me to Janice and back again, and I sit down at my seat back at the table. I don't say anything for a few minutes, listening to them bicker about the set we're going to play and what we're going to do in the off time we've got. If there's any luck, we aren't going to have a lot of off time, and any that we have, I'll be spending with my daughter. Just my daughter. Not with Caitlin. I shudder at the thought. I have only spoken to Caitlin a few times in the past couple months, and it was about Aria each time. The pure and simple fact of the matter is that I don't like talking to her, and I don't want to do so any more than I absolutely have to. There was a time when I thought Caitlin was the woman I would marry. She was perfect in every sense of the word, and I was thrilled when we were together. There wasn't a single thing about her I would have changed, and I know she felt the same about me. But stress can put a major damper on a relationship. I was trying to get the band launched. I was having a tough time dealing with the stress caused by the strained relationship with my dad, and to make matters worse, my brothers all assumed that because I had the best relationship with him out of all of us, that I was the one who would know what was going on. But I didn't know anything more than anyone else did. I know I didn't handle things well with Caitlin, but when the chance came, I left. I packed up my things and headed out with the rest of the band, ready to take on a new life. Ready to forget the past. I knew it would break her heart, and I felt like a piece of crap for doing it, but I reminded myself that I would get over it, and so would she. I figured that with time, we'd each forget about the other, or when we did think about each other, we'd think about how foolish we were in high school and leave it at that. At least, that is what I convinced myself would happen. When I finally heard from her nearly a year later, she let me know that she had a daughter. No, she let me know that we had a daughter. Needless to say, I was blindsided and was completely livid, demanding we have a test done to prove that I was the child's biological father. Any hopes of having an amicable breakup with Caitlin went out the window at that point. When the test came back positive, and I knew for certain she was mine, I thought my life was over. That is, until I met the little girl. From the moment I laid my eyes on her, I knew I loved her more than anything. At that moment, it no longer mattered who her mother was. All that mattered was that this precious little angel was half me, and I was going to do everything in my power not to mess up her life the same way my father messed up mine. I would give her the world, but I knew that that might be best accomplished if I stayed out of hers. "You okay, buddy?" Tommy asks as he takes a seat next to me, and I suddenly realize the others have gone off to shoot a game of pool. I finish the drink in front of me and nod. "Yeah, fantastic," I say, my voice strained. He slaps me on the shoulder and gives me a light shake, giving me the same smile he always has over the years. If there's anyone in my group of brothers I expect to kind of understand what I'm feeling, it's Tommy. We might be at each other's throats a lot, but I know he cares about the stuff I'm doing. "You know you'll be glad to see her as soon as you do," he says with a grin. I nod, and he slaps my shoulder once more, before getting up and heading into the lobby to shoot pool with the rest. I hesitate. I want to argue, but I know he's right. I might tell myself that I don't want to get involved in her life because I don't want to mess her up, but the fact is, I'll do anything to see my daughter again, even if it's only for a few minutes. I just want to take her in my arms and tell her how beautiful she is. I want to stroke her hair and tell her to her face that I love her more than anything else in this world. Yes, I'll do anything to make that happen. Even if it means I'll have to visit my father.
Chapter 5. Nikki.
Did you hear? They're coming home. My boys are coming home. Mr. Bridges sounds elated as he sits up in his chair, looking at me with brimming eyes. I smile and look down at my notes. I'm not supposed to get overly emotional in front of patients, and I am determined to set up some boundaries. At the same time, I feel his anticipation. He hasn't seen any of his sons in over 5 years, and I can't imagine what he must be feeling. He's told me more than once the regret he feels over how they were raised, and the things he wishes he could go back and do over. I try to tell him that mistakes are in the past, and that he has to focus on what he can do now. I pray he hears me, but I'm not so certain he does. I'm sure they're all going to be very excited to see you. I heard they're also putting on a show while they're here, I say, trying to move the subject along. I know he can get stuck talking about this for the rest of the day if I let him, and that's not what I want to do. I heard that as well, but I can't say I'm going to make it. I'm hoping they'll be happy with coming here to see me, or I can go somewhere quiet where we could talk. Mr. Bridges looks out the window, and I can see he's racking his brain for any idea of how he can get together with his sons. I almost offer a solution, but I remember what Mr. Harvey told me. Your job is to listen first and foremost. You can offer advice if they ask for it, but don't shove your solutions on everyone as soon as they pose a problem. Our goal is to give these people purpose and rational solutions for their issues, not solve their problems for them. Mr. Bridges might not be my official patient, but I know I should still follow the rules. I don't know. This damned cancer isn't letting me get far from bed, so I'm thinking our best bet is if they come here. What do you say? Would you mind setting that up for me? I would be eternally grateful to you if you did. Mr. Bridges suddenly turns his attention back to me, reaching out and taking both my hands in his. I hesitate. I've been wondering myself if I want to go through with a face-to-face meeting with any of the men. There was a time when we were decently good friends, but I've always felt a little hurt at the way they ditched me when they all left. It was like I was part of the nightmare they wanted to get away from, and they hardly bothered saying goodbye. In a way, we almost grew up together. They lived a few blocks up from me, and I was the grade beneath Tanner in school. In fact, there was a time when Tanner and I were an item, dating for a few months my freshman year. Sure, nothing came of it and he moved on to another girl before they left, and I have to admit that I did have a crush on his brothers from time to time as well, but it was still something. I always knew who their father was, but it wasn't until I went to school and became a therapist that I started to understand a bit more about what they were dealing with. I knew he was an angry man who was almost always drunk, but I didn't know the extent of the problems that were happening in the family. I can't blame them for not speaking to their father now that they are old enough to be on their own. But I can blame them for disappearing from my life as they did. They were there one day, then they were gone the next. Please? You know I don't have any way to really get a hold of them, and I'm afraid if I don't stay on them, they won't come. This could be my last chance to see any of them. God knows what this cancer is doing to me. He looks down at his body, and I feel sorry for him. There is the nudge in the back of my mind, telling me not to get overly involved in the situation, but I can't turn down this dying man's request. Not to mention the fact that the more I've gotten to know this man, the more compassion I've felt for him. My own strained relationship with my father makes me crave male attention of any kind, but it is rare for anyone to treat me as though I am their daughter. In fact, I went into psychology and therapy because I wanted to make my father proud. If it had been left up to me, I would have done exactly what the Bridges boys did. I would have gone into performing arts of some kind. But my father thought it all rather ridiculous, and made it clear that if I was to do anything of value with my life, I had better get into something that paid the bills. He basically forced me into the medical field. But I went through with it, and now that I am in a position to help this man, I know it's what I have to do. He very specifically asked me for help, and I know his days are limited. I close my notebook and set it on my lap, bringing my legs together and looking at him with a bright smile. You know what? I bet we can do that very thing. It might not be easy to get them all down here at the same time, or for very long if they have a show scheduled, but I can promise you I'll do everything in my power to make sure they come in and see you before they leave. I feel my heart sinking as I speak, my confidence leaving me as I finish my speech. I don't know if I'm making this man a promise I can't keep, but I've said it with such conviction that there's little doubt in my mind he believes what I'm saying. He reaches forward once more and puts his hands over mine, gently squeezing them in his palms and giving me a broad smile. I knew I could count on you. If there's anyone in the world who can make this happen for me, it's you. He laughs and looks out the window once more, and I start to feel very nervous. I would think that I am the last one anyone would ask to try to pull off such a thing. It's no secret to the town that the boys and their father have never gotten along. Since becoming the man's confidant, I've gotten more inside information that leaves me unable to blame them for writing him off once they were on their own. But I've always been a compassionate person, and I can't say no to his request. I can see in his eyes how desperately he wants to make things right with his sons, and I'm not going to let a little difficulty stand in the way of me at least trying to make that happen. I am going to do everything in my power to get them here as soon as I can, I say with a warm smile. I rise from my seat and look at the bed. Do you need assistance getting back in there? I ask. He looks over his shoulder at the bed as well, then shakes his head and gives me a dismissive wave of his hand. I can manage. There are a few things I would like to do for myself, as long as I can. Thank you so much for your kind words, and let me know the moment you hear from them. He smiles and gets out of the chair slowly, and I fight the urge to hurry over and help him. I want to make sure he's as comfortable as I can possibly make him, and it worries me to see him struggle. Ring if you need anything, I say as I walk toward the door. He's settling into the pillows, looking happier than I have seen him in months. I smile to myself as I close the door most of the way behind me. I don't want to think of what Mr. Harvey will say about my promise. I don't want to think of the reality of how hard it's going to be to pull off. Right now, I just want to go into my next appointment knowing that, at least for now, I have made that man happier than he has been in years. It's not going to be easy. In fact, it might be impossible to get a hold of any of his sons, but I'm sure as hell going to try my best. After all, there was a time when they were my friends. They should make the time to see me. Famous or not, we were friends. I deserve at least a little of their attention.
Chapter 6. Tommy.
And you all thought we weren't going to make it. Greg, our bus driver, looks over his shoulder with a grin, but I ignore him. He's right. I didn't think we were going to make it, and I'm still surprised we did. I want to tell him to back off, but I'll be nice. He did get us down here, though I'm still pissed at Joe for not getting us plane tickets like I suggested. I'm no mechanic, but I think we should get the bus to a garage as soon as possible, Janice says as he steps toward the front. I adjust the paper on my lap, still refusing to say anything. I get so tired of these guys never listening to me. I'll let them figure this one out. Tanner follows Janice toward the front of the bus, but he's scanning the parking lot we've pulled into. I don't blame him. He's been staring out the window since we got to town, and I know he's hoping for even just a glimpse of his daughter. It's unlikely we'll see her now, since it's school hours, but I know he's thinking about her more than he's willing to admit. Well, what do you want to do, Tommy? I can take you guys over to the hotel and let you get settled in. You can check in with Joe and see what he wants to do with the bus, but with the smoke billowing out of the engine. At this, he points out the window to a small cloud of smoke that's hovering ominously around the front of the bus. We aren't going to be getting very far. Greg turns his attention to me, and I roll my eyes. You're the driver. I think that of anyone here, you'll be able to figure this out, Greg. Anyway, I don't want to get stranded in the middle of the road, here of all places. Let's call an Uber and get out of here. You can figure this out and give me a call when you've got an update. I ignore the look he gives me and grab my phone, ordering an Uber. I don't care how long it takes him to get to the mechanic. I'd much rather be settled into the hotel room right now with a cold beer in my hand. We've just spent hours on the road, and I refuse to let myself think about it too much, or I'll get pissed off at Joe all over again. By the time we get to the hotel, all of us are hot and hungry, but I'm in better spirits than I was. There's something about being back home that brings back a lot of memories, even the ones that I thought I didn't want to remember. As the oldest in the family, I am the one who lived here the longest, and I remember the trouble James and I used to get into after school. Look, Tommy. Isn't that the old dumpster we threw Hanson in during junior year? James calls up from the back seat. I look out the window at the old parking lot with the large graffiti dumpster and laugh, looking back at him. We hated that kid, and it felt good throwing him into the dumpster. Sure, it might have been considered bullying, but the little twerp wouldn't leave Tanner alone. We weren't going to stand by and watch some entitled jerk pick on our little brother. We get to the hotel, and I'm relieved to hear Joe has everything set up. It only takes a few minutes to get us each settled in our private rooms. Another thing I'm glad he had the brains to arrange. My phone rings. What? I ask, putting it up to my ear. Well, I've got some good news and some bad news. Joe's voice comes through the phone. I'm surprised it isn't Greg, and I check the number to make sure it's right. What news? I ask impatiently. Greg called and said you guys were having issues with the bus on the way down there, Joe continues. I agree, still letting the annoyance shine through in my voice. Well, it turns out we're going to need to do something with the engine before you're able to move on with the tour. I have the part on the way already, but they're looking at the end of the week before they're going to be able to put it in. Joe is speaking in his matter-of-fact tone. The one he uses when he knows he's giving me bull I don't want to hear. And what does that mean for the tour? I ask. I don't want to hang out in this town any longer than we have to, but I can sense that's where this conversation is going. Settle down, Tommy. That's where the good news comes in. I relax, thinking he's going to get us out of here on time. He isn't. It turns out both the shows have already sold out. So we decided to go ahead and extend it for 2 more nights. That's going to push you pretty close to the end of the week, and I can fly all of you out of there and on to the next show. The bus can follow, and we'll be back on track by the beginning of next week if all goes according to plan. He sounds optimistic, but I'm not sharing his enthusiasm. You know as well as I do that things rarely go according to plan, I snap. There's not much we can do about this right now. Unless you all want to cough up the hundreds of dollars it'll take for you to make it to the next show, with all your gear, in an Uber, you're stuck there, my friend. Come on, it's not so bad. I thought you wanted to see your dad. Joe tries to change the subject and I cringe. I am willing to see our father, but he's not the main reason we're here. Or is he? I can't even remember, with all the news that's been thrown at me over the past couple of days, and with all the emotions I'm feeling being home again. Yeah, we're going to fit in seeing him at some point, but my main focus at the moment is to get out of here. I have a job to do, Joe. We all do. I changed the subject back to work. I would rather talk about work with my agent than my personal life, and I smile to myself as I hear him sigh. At least I'm not the only one having to deal with the stress of all this. I know, and I'm doing the best I can. Look, I'm going to get on the phone with the airline as soon as I'm done with you, and I'll see what I can work out. You, on the other hand, focus on catching up with some old friends. Work on the shows. It's been years since you've played your hometown, and you did say you wanted to put on a show no one is going to forget. Joe once again sounds optimistic, and I sigh. I know he's right. There are a lot of people in this town I would like to prove a point to. But even that all comes back to my father. He's the one, above all else, that I want to prove to that I've done something with my life. I'm not sure how I'm going to do that, though. I can't see him coming to any of the shows. Not in the condition he's in. No. If I want to show him what I've accomplished, I'm going to have to do it face to face. I wrap up the conversation with Joe and hang up my phone, taking another sip of my beer. There is no doubt in my mind that whenever I speak to my father again, it's going to be a conversation neither of us will soon to forget.
End of sneak peek for A Billionaire's Treasure, an alpha billionaire romance. Please like and subscribe to support this channel. It helps more than you know.